The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Industry of Comics show, episode 110. 110, ladies and gentlemen, the Industry of Comics show. I'm here with my boy Emmett, my boy Sean. Jesse, I don't think is going to be able to make it tonight. So shout out to Jesse, depending on what's going on. I sent him the link just in case, but he said he probably won't be able to make it tonight. Real quick, big shout out to Dennis. I seen that over the last couple days or so, he's been really active on his YouTube page again, which is good. So make sure you guys go check it out. Wonder World Comics 2020 on YouTube. Let me go ahead and drop the link, and everybody. He put out 2 new videos this week, it looks like, and he's always got good takes on his recorded videos, so make sure you guys go check that out. And he's got one on how it isn't easy to move a store, and then 6 items your store needs to succeed as a comic book retailer. So there you go show Dennis some love. Who is still on his vacation right now. So
number 1, Absolute Batman.
Yeah, right. Have Absolute Batman, exactly.
Yeah.
Have all of the Absolute Batman number 1s ever printed.
Yeah.
I would retire, right?
You know who does have all of those? That guy right there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Snyder is currently in the midst of a 24-hour straight giveaway session, man. So we'll talk about this pretty heavy in a little bit. I imagine they'll still be going by the time we get to that segment. But if not, it's okay. This shit is crazy, man. And we're going to get pretty deep into it. So shout out to Scott Snyder and Comic Sketch Art for, just saying, you know what? We're going to go show some love and just start giving a ton of stuff away. And very, very interesting. Very interesting. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But man, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world of comics, the world of retailers. Everything is so fluid right now, and what works and what doesn't work. It's constant. It's dynamic is a better word, right? It's constantly changing. And the retailer world, the publisher world, the IP world, everything is changing. And there was some big news in the world of Marvel Comics recently, along with a ton of layoffs over there, not just at Marvel Comics, but Marvel Entertainment, right? The movie company laid off a bunch of people. They had layoffs across the board. But one of the biggest stories out of this whole thing is David Gabriel leaving Marvel, which is a real big deal for, I think there's a big group of people, especially old school brick and mortar retailer, OGs, who knew David very well. David Gabriel was a champion, a big champion for the direct market, for comic retailers. He was like the guy at Marvel that was kind of looking out for all the retailers, is a kind of like an easy way to say it. But again, it's not just Marvel too, it's Disney across the board, right? Disney did a complete restructuring, I think, right? Something like where they're kind of like just going to more like efficiency, corporate cost-cutting measures and all that type of shit. Basically just tightening their belt after years of overspending and saturation of content, which, content that wasn't that great, to be honest, right? Especially in the Disney entertainment world. But Marvel Studios got hit really hard in this whole thing. And it's kind of interesting because they get hit really hard at the same time they're getting ready to drop the Avengers Doomsday trailer that everybody's waiting on.
They did that private screening, right? At the, whatever it was, that big CinemaCon or whatever it was.
Yeah,
CinemaCon.
CinemaCon.
Talking about, it was awesome.
Yeah. And shout out to Rob Liefeld for giving us the rundown on that. And a big shout out to Official Music Pub, sending 20 gifted memberships. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Um,
But they got a new CEO over there, Josh Diamo or something.
Yep.
And I think this was his first big thing was he cut 1,000 jobs. So
Yeah. And you know, all of Marvel was hit, but Marvel Comics, specifically David Gabriel, gone after 23 years. He was the senior vice president of print, sales, and marketing. Probably one of the most powerful people behind the scenes in Marvel publishing. He was a relationship guy. And shout out to Dennis, who had a real big, long relationship with this guy, and always championed him. And it was kind of interesting to hear him talk about David Gabriel and how he was a relationship guy. He was he wanted to talk to all the brick and mortar shops and talk about distribution and marketing and sales strategy. And people call them the retail whisperer. I've heard people say about him, right? Emmett, did you have any relationship with David Gabriel at all?
I didn't, but I got to meet him this year. I, of course, introduced him to me by Dennis when I was hanging out with Dennis at New York. Dennis brought me right up and introduced me to him, and really very, very calm guy, like very laid back, chill, but was very into what's selling, what's going on, and he's taking it on the chin a lot for the what Marvel, what retailers think of Marvel currently. So
Yeah, which is kind of weird because I don't know if he had. I mean, I couldn't tell you, but it
no,
sounds
but
like
he's the only one that would talk to you,
you got it. Yeah, right. He's the only one
right?
that. Yeah. But he understood both shops and Marvel.
Yep.
He was very knowledgeable in that world, and to me it's just another sign of like Marvel wanting to kind of push away from the status quo and what comic publishing is, if that makes sense. Um, you're seeing marketing leadership cuts in Gabriel, editorial cuts, studio cuts. Teams have been gutted. They're shifting to more freelancers across all divisions up there. And for the direct market, like who replaces them? And when they do choose a replacement, what is going to be their ideology going to be, right? Because there's a big breakdown between the trust between the retailer and the publisher, especially Marvel right now, right?
Yep.
So,
and one of the things that happened with freelancers, and this is kind of a broad brush, not every freelancer, but they have time issues, right? So then we get delayed books, and then that's one of your biggest problems. If that book, I mean, everybody remembers the Master Race. How many years did that take to finish? 2 years, something like that. It's insane.
I don't know if the layoffs are going to affect comics coming out, though. I mean, from what I saw, if they lay off 1,000 people, it's less than 1% of the total workforce. It's focused more on marketing, I guess, and then, like you said, also the studio stuff. So more outsourcing freelance stuff for the Marvel Studios, not so much outsourcing freelance
Right.
for comics.
You're right.
So I don't,
You're right.
And those guys got taken care of. They don't just let them go. They're going to get, some got bonuses and vacation, extended, they extend their health care, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, but it's
but
interesting.
I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the comic universe. You know what I mean?
Well, what's interesting about it is like, I think tonight's show and what we've been talking about over the last like 2 months, it's just more reality. It's just more information that makes me, gets me closer to believing that, they're moving away from the relationship status quo between retailers and comic publishers, right? The guy who really understood retailers is gone. Corporate leadership is very cost focused now, and just like, black and white, probably, this is the procedure, this is how it's done. No relationship, and oh, this guy's dealing with, like, everything's not black and white. They're going to move to more black and white. You're losing, like, that all that experience, leadership and relationship stuff that David Gabriel had at 23 years. And I think you're right, Sean. I think most of the layoffs probably aren't going to affect it much, but losing David Gabriel will.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. And did he, I've heard rumors he retired, he wasn't let go. I don't know the details exactly, but I heard there was a little bit of misreporting there across places. So, the big question now is who's going to take his spot in doing his job as far as talking to retailers. Like, he championed the exclusive program over there, and it was game changing for the industry when Marvel introduced the retail exclusive program. It put many people, artists on the map. Love or hate retailer exclusives, whatever you want to say about
and
them.
retailers.
Some of the best covers, some of the best covers ever produced have been through retailer exclusives, period.
Mm-hmm.
But my criticism came after COVID, when people, they have this idea that all these retailers were selling out of 3,000 copies of a trade dress, and it's not happening. So they raised the price up, and then they refused to budge on their minimums. Like, it's 3,000 trade dress, 1,000 virgin. Everybody knows the formula. And, now retailers have turned into sub-distributors. I say this all the time. No one retailer is doing 3,000 exclusives by themselves unless they're chopping it way down or something. Anyway, my criticism would have been that there's been no adjustment in that world. But we're our own worst enemies in retailers when it comes to that, because we keep doing it. You don't like variants, don't buy them. Well, you don't like the retail exclusive program, don't participate in it. When everybody keeps participating in it, it's not going to change.
How much do you think this is a factor? We've seen DC just completely dominate in the world of printed comics, right? All the talk is about DC. All the secondary market sales, they've got a 34% share of the market right now. Marvel is at 20. Let's see here. Marvel had market shares of respectively, I don't know what it's at right now. A 29.4% share in Q4 of 2025. DC and Marvel had market shares of 32.6 and 29.6 respectively. So they do have a larger market of share of the market, and everybody's talking about DC right now, right? The only thing in Marvel that people are really talking about are the DC crossovers. Don't get me wrong. I know there's some really good stuff in Marvel, like the Daredevil stuff. I like the Kari Andrews, like Wolverine stuff. I like all the crossovers with Predator and Aliens. Like, those are good things. But for the most part, the only thing people are really selling and talking about are the either the blind bags or the crossovers with DC.
Yeah. No, so here's my 2 cents in this. So remember, we used to criticize Marvel. We wished, as retailers too, they were more aligned with the movies, right? Like, why isn't there a cool new Infinity Gauntlet series coming out? Or they would give us some lame ass book or some reprint. And now they've changed that. The Daredevil blind bags aligned perfectly with the release of the Disney Plus series. And I bet you that had a ton to do with David Gabriel pushing that to happen. I think Marvel has good marketing. I don't know. They have some good marketing ideas. The thing that's hurting. It's, and Emmett's going to love it. This thing is, it's the stories that are hurting Marvel.
Yeah.
It's not the covers and the variant. Marvel survived on their variant covers for so long. Scotty Young, and then Art Germ, and then these other guys that pushed all their covers. Now, honestly, majority of DC's variant covers are terrible. They're not good at all. Look at at least two of the Batman, Absolute Batman or Absolute any covers, just some throwaway generic cover. And they're still outselling because the stories are really, really good. It's a story driven. So I think the reason DC has a market share is because we're shifting more to a reader based fandom, I guess.
Yep.
Buyer market's more reader based, which is good for everybody. Don't get me wrong, the cover people are still there.
Right.
They'll never go away. But I think its majority is reader based. And that's what's killing Marvel. It's not their marketing effort. You have a Disney Plus series aligning perfectly with a Daredevil blind bag, and the story was pretty good too. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
and they learned their lessons. Now Queen in Black is going to have different covers in the blind bag than the main covers, and there's a box set with an exclusive. Like,
Yeah,
holy
great
crap.
marketing, but I have no idea where they can go with this character.
Who, Hela
Same.
for Queen in Black?
Yeah,
Well, now Null is a bad light person. Like, kind of
I've
weird.
been saying
I mean,
this
it
for
works in the
years.
story. Yeah, but
Marvel's
describing it,
I
it's
think
like,
that you just
I don't
take
wanna read that.
spitballs and just shoot them out of like they have like what is the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? They have like that board
Yeah.
set up with all the things, and they just like blindfold themselves and just spitballs and whatever it hits. Okay, we need a character for Queen in Black. Put up all the female characters. Okay, Hela. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's
Yeah.
what they do, and then at the same time, they have a lot of writers that are very good at meeting deadlines, but they're not good at writing good stories. You know what I mean? So they just want deadlines to be hit. They just want, I feel like they don't care about the stories. The stories that they have to care about are more like that maybe they're licensing the IP, right? So maybe that's why those crossover stories are better in the world of Marvel, because they have to make sure that the writing is good. I don't know, but there is something going on, there that just it feels like they have no idea. Perfect example. I bring this up all the time. You have probably one of the coolest characters created over at Marvel in decades in Spider-Punk. You're getting ready to utilize him in a major motion picture that every kid and every teenager that has gotten into Miles and Gwen and over the years through those movies is going to be at an older age, getting ready. Maybe they can they have some money because they have their first jobs. You should be writing some of the best Spider-Punk stuff out there. And every Spider-Punk thing that you've ever put out has been god awful terrible. It's a home run character, So
Yeah.
they have a
Same.
lot of home run characters.
yeah.
I mean, they're
The entire
Wolverine
X-Men.
and- Yeah, Wolverine and X-Men are all pretty much unreadable. Cyclops is pretty good this week. I like Cyclops number 3. I
Oh, I didn't
totally
read it.
stopped.
I'm gonna have to. Look
It's
at
good. It's good.
Okay.
I stopped reading Wolverine completely. I refuse to even buy any of it to support that terrible series. It's horrible. And I could go on and on about how bad some things are at Marvel, but almost every DC title, except for a couple off the top of my head, I've read, I have enjoyed. They've not even been like hard skip. It's either meh or that's a must read book. Every one. Only thing that was weird to me was Batwoman or whatever it was. The Blood Powers, maybe Batgirl.
Batwoman. Yeah, it was out of the new releases was the weakest. Hopefully, it's tough to rebound. It is so tough to find an audience. I mean, if they keep it going, it'll find an audience if the writing changes.
Yeah, and Infernal Hulk has been fun, like Mercury said in the chat. But honestly, the last few issues have kind of been like, I'm reading and I'm like, that's it, like that's all I got.
We talked about. I think Emmett, you might have brought it up the other day when we were pre-gaming for the show and brainstorming for the show, and you said a lot of the stuff that we talk about, we're not really going to know the answer until 10 years down the road, like where the hindsight is there. And the question from the chat says, was it Gabriel that was supposed to check in on the Ultimate Blind Bags? And I'm not sure about that. I remember that his name did come up, and maybe somebody had asked him in a Facebook post, and he said yes. But here's why I'm bringing that up, because in 2 years or maybe a year, or whenever David Gabriel feels like talking, I would love to hear what he says about some of these things. Hey, was he the one that saw everybody complaining about the ultimate endgame blind bags and made the changes and made sure that they, like, I want to know if he had anything to do with that, like what some of the stories that he has about the retailer exclusive game. I want to know some of those stories. I want to hear about them. I want to hear about what it was like in the beginning, and what his thoughts were around that whole process. Obviously, I want to know about what editorial was like over there. Like, I hope that David Gabriel is willing to kind of like come out and say some of that stuff. And I know it's hard to do that, because the guy doesn't want to, like, he doesn't want to alienate himself. If maybe he wants another job in this industry, I don't know. But at the same time, hey man, I would love, David Gabriel, you got a seat available. I would love to hear the history, your time at Marvel, your thought process on all this stuff, because I'm sure he has some stories to tell. And there will be some
I
that,
tell you, his memoir would be
oh yeah,
a game changer, bestseller. He's sitting on $1 million publishing deal right there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So we'll see, what he has to say in the future. I'm going to definitely be, I am looking forward to hearing what other people have to say about it too in the future. Here's something interesting too. On a smaller note, Mad Cave laid off a bunch of people too. They had a recent hit with the Cocaine Hippopotamus, I believe.
Yeah,
but other than that, I can't think of very many reasons that we've kind of like championed Mad Cave as of late. But it's kind of a bummer to see layoffs in any part of the publishing industry, when we need a lot of these smaller publishers out there in the game to bring us these type of.
I gotta tell you, man, so I do very small publishing. We're about to go back into Lunar again, and I look at some of these guys' staffs, and I'm like, how are you paying all these people? The
Venture
numbers,
capital money.
yeah, they got to be having money coming in from outside.
These companies have been losing money every year
because the books don't. Yeah, that's got to be it, bro. Because the books don't pay for all that staff. It doesn't.
They have the one hit theory. They're in it. They'll spend all their money like it's a tax write off for people, ultra wealthy people. They're losing money at this business. They keep pouring money into it, keeping it running every year, trying new things. But they only need to hit. They're looking. Hey, if we hit a Superman, or forget Superman, and if we hit an Invincible, if we hit a Walking Dead,
or a Sick Tick, or something like that, like
it's
I tell you, it's crazy to look at these staffs.
I'm telling you, Sick Tick hasn't even paid off yet.
You don't think so?
No, they've made money, but like it, not real money, not like once the movie gets done and there's been a little bit of merchandising, but you don't see it everywhere. Not everybody has a t-shirt on.
Yeah, they're probably firmly in the six-figure area, probably not millions of dollars. I mean, even with those retail, I mean, you're talking, guys, we got to remember, I know you guys know this, but like chat people, like guys, every comic that a publisher sells, they're making, if they're lucky, a profit of $1. It's more like 40 to 70 cents. Like,
are you talking about gross?
No, I'm talking like take home. If you get a big
net
order,
like 30, their net's going to be like 30 cents.
Yeah, if
for Marvel
when
and
I
DC.
if I got everything aligned perfectly, and I had a big order, like a 10,000 plus order, I would make like 70 cents an issue.
Well, you're doing way better than the big guys, because like you said, you look at how many employees they have, it's insane. The small guy's always going to do better per book, can't sell as many books because it's hard to get the word out there, so you're working on a better margin. They're working on a volume, when Batman sells 250,000 books,
and these small guys, they're not hitting those huge numbers. I mean, honestly, Mark's numbers on the back of the books that he puts for the monsters, because he puts
That's
a
a-
print run on the back, which is incredible. Those numbers are epic compared to what most people are doing in the indie world.
Yeah.
Those
He's
are
selling-
that broke records in independence. And I don't really count Image as an independent. You can go back to when they were doing $1 million an issue, but they weren't selling $1 million an issue. You know, they weren't selling 1 million issues. You know, I think you're not going to see 300,000 by some small imprint ever again.
Well,
No, if you look,
Mad Cave
go ahead.
also had Pop Kill. Shout out to James Kreider, who's in the house. He says Mad Cave has Pop Kill and Gotcha Man. Now, here's the thing about Pop Kill. Pop Kill has had a lot of great covers that have pushed that. It's not because of no storylines, not because of anything else. It's the same book and basically everything in one. If you have a good artist out there and you just want to get them on a cover, you do a Pop Kill cover. So the Pop Kill stuff is 100% pushed by cover artists.
It's like a Vampire.
Nottingham was their big. Yeah, Nottingham was their big book.
That's right. Nottingham was good.
Ran for like 3 years. Not the greatest art. It was stylistic. Not my flavor, but other people might like it. It fit the story, I guess. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's being told from the side of the sheriff." It had been done. Maybe not in comics, but it's not like nobody's inventing the wheel. Please stop.
Yeah, they have a lot of different IPs: the Phantom, Speed Racer,
That's
Gotcha
money,
Man, Flash
Phantom
Gordon,
doesn't cost them
Dick
much
Tracy.
because I don't think anybody owns the Phantom. I think it's public domain.
That's a good question.
No, I don't know if that's the same Underworld. Dick Tracy. Yeah, so
Dick Tracy also maybe
public domain, yeah. So
I know
maybe-
Gotcha Man is definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a comic called Battle Cats that looks like Thundercats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, but honestly, who buys Dick Tracy comics anymore? It says it 1953, you know.
Dick Tracy's a cool
Yeah.
character, and
Believe it or not, the new, if you get it, get the trade paperback of the. It's actually good. I got a couple of people reading it at my shop. I don't read it anymore because it's like into issue 10 or 11. I missed a few, so now I'm reading anybody. But they said it's really good if you like hard-boiled crime. It's actually written pretty well.
I like
They are
old school
not-
40s, noir movies. So Dick Tracy would be cool if they keep it in the 40s, they keep it noir. Like that's cool. That's a good idea. But like trying to like make them for new age and this and that, like
No.
it's not worth it.
Both are still not in the public domain.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Okay.
So they're paying money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, must be licensing it
yeah.
clearly.
Oof.
Yeah, very interesting.
That's tough.
It's got to be a super cheap license to be like, oh, let's bring back Dick Tracy.
I mean, I
I'm
can't
with
see
you.
people
I'm not a
fighting
huge
for
fan,
it.
but no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
No, there's better. I mean, the Ezra Miller that just came out from Vertigo from DC is great. You know, same vein.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just a bummer. I hope that they those people find their place. It's always a musical chairs type thing with comic pros. They've dealt with this before. They'll deal with it again. Hopefully they'll find places to land in other publishers or other places. It's a whole new world when it comes to the comic industry and what people can do in this industry, what people can offer, and it's changing so rapidly to where like if you're a content creator, or if you have editing skills, or if you can build websites, or if you're a good manager, or that type of thing, like those are the things that are gonna help the most at this point, because I think that they're trying to get rid of everything else. You know what I mean? The direct market is becoming, and when I say direct market, skipping the retailer is becoming
Direct
the
to
game.
consumer.
Direct to consumer. Thank you. Yeah, direct to consumer.
Well, actually, I think they're going to pick winners and losers. They're probably watching this live selling very, very closely and they will team up with big live sellers who can move 10,000 books.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah. They
Well,
already
let's look at
have.
this.
I mean,
Perfect Segue.
speak to the devil.
2,700 people watching Scott Snyder right now give away personal comp copies. Now let's break this down. So we've had
He's selling them too, though.
Yeah, he's selling them
They're not
too,
all
but
giveaway.
but 90% of them have been giveaways so far. 90%. He's just done like probably 15 giveaways in a row, I want to say. But he did do some sales today. We did see some crazy prices on some of these. Like here's an example, I think.
We decided we were going to give away 24K. Wow, really? I'm like, I know this, and then I'm reading it, and I'm like, of our rare variants.
The first one is going up. This is going to be a pure giveaway session here, guys. We're going to do the foil.
Oh wow.
The wraparound foil.
This hasn't even been released
Another
yet.
huge book. It is going to be your absolute Batman number 15, The Man Boys. This is a creator stream, basically trying to give his comps to the true collectors out there. Next one, already signed, guys. It's another
Which can't
Man
even
Boys.
I mean, I love
Who's
them,
going to
but
take it?
you can't
Handpicked by
guarantee that
Scott
that's who's in
himself.
there. There's a lot of retailers. I can guarantee there's a lot of
If you guys have won a
resellers
giveaway
in
on
there.
one of these
Yeah, of course.
high-end, crazy
Of course.
valuable books, and you want a COA or CGC, reach out to Comic Sketch Art, send a message requesting such, and they will get it handled. That is phenomenal. I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard of that. Giving away 4-digit signed grails and the opportunity to get free CGC. If that's not giving
How cool is that? He's got a Todd McFarlane page behind him. Okay, so let's talk about this and
Yeah.
what is going on here.
Let's do it.
I truly think, now I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. You guys know that's not my deal. I would love to have Scott or somebody else come and explain what his feelings are, but I'm just going to shoot from the hip here and what I think is going on here. I think that Scott Snyder has got something special going on with this Absolute Universe and with what the change that's he's helped make happen at DC, okay? And I think over the last couple weeks, seeing what happened with the Heavy Mental Dan Quintana drop, seeing what's happened with the One Stop Shop drops with the Man Brothers books, seeing this like really fast flip going from being like everybody's excited about everything to like pitchforks coming out and people saying the prices have gotten too high. It feels like the artists are taking advantage of people. It feels like retailers are taking advantage of fans, and artists are taking advantage of fans, and retailers are taking advantage of buyers. And it's this weird thing that's happened. And I think that Snyder has said, you know what? I see this, I hear this, and I want to just chop it off at the bud, right? I want to come out there and I want to fight it with, I'm going to give away my comps. All you people that are mad because you couldn't get these books, I have a couple of each. I'm going to give them away. And I am going to create good, promotion, good, catch more flies with honey. And he came out and he said, basically, hey, this is for all you guys that are in the Absolute Batman Facebook group. I see you guys complaining about everything that's going on over here. I thank you so much for what you guys are doing and how you guys have changed everything in comics and at DC and made Absolute Universe a big deal. And because of that, I'm going to reward you and I'm going to give away all my comp copies, or a vast majority of my comp copies.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's selling some of them. But who knows what he's doing with that money? We don't know.
He's putting his kids through college. He said,
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Says,
So
I got 3 kids in college.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But at the same time, he is saying there's 2 things that are coming across here. Number 1, I hear your guys' complaints, and I am going to give you guys some rewards and show you guys that I appreciate you. And number 2. You creators out there and you retailers out there that are fucking this up, I see it. I notice it. I don't like it. I think that's a very small kind of like part of it, And I think Snyder is a good dude. Ultimately, I don't think that perfect timing, Rye, with the $10 super chat. He says, dang, I'm not getting any notifications for some reason. Don't worry, bro. He just dropped 50 gifted subs too, I believe. So shout out to Rye for
sweet.
dropping gifted subs. So basically, it feels like this is fucking Scott Snyder, who is like a comic fan, such a big part of
retailer fan,
such a big part of all the what's been good about comics in the last 15 years. You know, he's been such a big part of that, and he doesn't want to mess up what's going on. And I think that he's got a big role that he's going to fill at DC over the next
I hope
in
so.
the short-term future. And this is him kind of like getting a little bit of a head start in the good promotion world. Hey, I hear you guys. I know that you guys are mad about, and you guys want to get, the things you love to collect and what you love, and and I wouldn't be surprised if there's changes that are going to be made to the DC at least to the absolute retailer exclusive program, and with what creators, it's very hard for an artist to get on the DC cover train, and yet alone get on the absolute cover train. You can't be any artist out there.
Sean knows better than anybody.
Trust me, I know.
So I don't know, Sean. What do you think? How do you feel on that?
So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like, you're 100%.
Shout out to Rye with the $10 super chat. Right, perfect timing.
Yeah.
He says Scott Snyder is bucking the system right now. Amen, brother. Shout out to Scott Snyder. Go ahead, Sean.
So I watched about 3 hours of this earlier today. I was trying to get a bunch of work done, and I was so distracted by it. I couldn't win a freaking thing. I was trying so hard. So they did a few things. So basically, Scott gets 10 copies of every single Absolute Batman ever done. Retailer exclusives, trade foil, doesn't matter. He gets 10 copies, right? Now, he could have very easily gave those to his agent, to Comic Sketch Art, to those guys, right? He could have easily said, here, do a Whatnot stream, auction every one of these off at $1 start. They would have sold for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I'll sign them all.
Yep.
He could have done that. What he did was, earlier today, they took, if there were 10 copies, they took 9. They put them in they dropped them for like retail, $20, $30, $40. They didn't mark the price up at all. So they didn't disrespect what the retailers did with their covers. And they sold them. They put 9 in. Granted, they went very quickly. There were 1,500 people in the room when I was watching, 15 to 2,000. They went very quickly. And then the last one, they would auction off at a 3-second sudden death. Rarely did the book get, when I was watching, rarely did they get over $50. A couple of them hit 100. I think one hit 200. Some of the really popular ones. The dude that was doing it, the dude right there in the green, he screwed up one time, and instead of, he forgot to turn on sudden death. The book auctioned for like $200 to $300. He said, dude, you can keep it or you can cancel it, and I'm going to rerun it. The guy said, I'll cancel it. He reran it, and it sold for like $50. So Scott was very adamant to his entire team today. It was so evident. He's like, I want these books to go for as cheap as possible. Now, keep in mind, he sold those retailer exclusives for the cost the retailers were doing. He said, I'm signing every single book today, which is a $20 value right there in itself.
Yep.
So he said, I'm signing every single book is going to be signed by me. Then they were dropping books in the buy it now. Absolute Green Lantern, some Absolute Superman. I bought a couple of them out of the bin. They were like 20. They were like $20-$30. He's signing them for free. And out of every 10, they dropped all 10 of them. He said, I'm going to surprise remark 1 out of every 10 of these books. So if it was Absolute Green Lantern number 7, he's remarking one of those 10. And then he remarked one of number 8. And then he remarked one of number 9. And he said that people weren't paying attention. So I was buying a couple up. And he was like, guys, don't forget, I'm remarking one of these books. And then they were gone. People were buying them. But let them go for some cheap. I mean, he could put those remarks up there and they would have gone for
Yeah.
$1,000. I mean, we've seen what these prices are going for.
Yeah.
He had the Quintana books. He could have remarked a Quintana book, signed it, and it would have went for $2,000-$3,000. He just wanted all the fans to have books. Now, people were bitching later on in the day, what I saw too, about like, I can't get anything. There's nothing but bots in here. All these retailers are buying books. It's like, what do you want him to fucking do, guys? Like, what do you want him to do?
Yeah.
He's doing the best he can. He's a couple I know going on and on, but he was late to the stream to start because his whole family's sick. He came on the show and was like, I had to take some of my family to urgent care because they're so sick. He's like, I'm running on fumes right now. And he's been sitting there. He had a Zoom meeting with DC today. He went and did the meeting and came back. The dude's running on fumes. He told a story about that Spider-Man art behind him today. He said Todd McFarlane gave it to him at a con for free when he was 13.
Wow.
He told him it was his birthday, and he goes, "It's your birthday?" He goes, "Here," and he gave him a piece of art for free.
Wow.
He said that, and that's why it's hanging where it is in a place of honor. I don't want to put, he didn't say that, but that's what it felt like. And he said, when I became a creator, that had such an impact on me. I want to be that kind of a creator where I give back to people that are fans of what I do. And that was part of his inspiration for this. And I promise you what you said, Brian, the same thing about watching what they did with the Quintana release that was based purely in greed. And same with the Clayman thing, trying to do the same kind of stuff. This is his counter to that. So he could have easily have told his guys, hey, auction these books off and make me $1 million, high seven figures. And he didn't. So
every single book he's done on this so far has been a giveaway. Okay, you guys, every single one. 37 giveaways or so far, I think. These are like $700 books. He's showing this one right now. He's showing the prices on it. He's signing them. Somebody said he's doing free CGC for the winners. Like,
yeah. If you won a book and you were on it graded, he's like, it's gonna be CGC for free too if your giveaway. It's like
this is a master class on how to like do things. This is a fucking master class on how to do things, how to look at the industry, the collectors, the fans, show appreciation, show support to the people that are supporting your stuff. Like, this is a master class on how to do things. So
and you know, so are they making money? Of course they're making money. But keep in mind too,
he could have made way more.
He could have
10
been making
times. And
yes,
somebody's got to ship all these books.
Yep.
Somebody's got to. How many people does he have there? There's at least 5 people here from Comic Sketch Art running this thing behind the scenes. I promise there's at least 5 of them there.
Rye with another $10 super chat. He says, it's my understanding they're in Scott's home workspace right now. He had to leave to cook dinner for his kids, and his wife is working late. What a G. Yeah, man. Masterclass, bro.
100%.
Like, take note, creators, take note, industry, take note, everybody, collectors, buyers. Like, this is the type of thing and the type of person that we want to support, the type of project we want to support. Again, I know we're glazing the guy here, but this is a big deal to me. This is a big deal to a lot of people.
And I'll tell you something. If anybody deserves to make a crap ton of money off of Absolute Batman, it's Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
Not a retailer that happened to get an artist that drew a hot image for it, and now they're going to rake the fans over the coals. I mean, this is how it's done. 100%.
I mean, what he's giving away now is some crazy Batman. Excuse me, I don't even know what this is, but look at all this stuff that they're giving him.
It had a T-shirt and a gun in it, and it's crazy.
Signed it.
The two things can be true about those guys who, raked everybody over the coals for the book. They could be greedy and scumbags, and not everybody's going to get one of those books regardless. If he'd sold them at normal price, what was there? There was 1,300, right? Or 1,200.
Some of them for the Quintana.
1,000 and 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Some of the Absolute Batman 19 sold for $1,000, but he also had Absolute Batman 16s by Quintana, which is a $700 raw book. I didn't see any of those given away, but they were in the stacks of stuff that he pulled out of his comp, storage
Yeah,
locker.
no, I was talking about the other guys who were
The
like,
retailers.
the retailers who were just greedy as hell.
Oh yeah,
Once
Heavy
they seen that
Mental,
they could
One
jump.
Stop Shop.
But
yeah.
like, yeah,
I mean, I don't know if they're
yeah, but
greedy as hell,
also
but
not even if they weren't
look
being
bad.
greedy, not everybody was going to get the book anyway.
Mhm.
Like that whole thing where people say, "Oh, I didn't get a chance to get the book because it went for $1,000." You might not have got it if it went for 50. You might not have got it if it went for 25. It might have went, if they put it out for 25, it might have went so fast you didn't even know it was for sale.
And you're right. You're 100% right what you said. But more people.
I'm not
a lot more
excusing the $1,000.
No, I feel you. But a lot more people would have been able to get it at a reasonable price and not been such a bad look. There's 1,000 different ways they could have done that. I mean, I'm probably going to do, I got drops coming up that I'm planning to do the right way, well, in my mind. I'm not, if Dennis was here, he'd yell at me and say, I'm not the comic book police, and I'm not the one to say what's the right way and the wrong way, and who made me comic book Jesus. Like, I get it. But in my opinion, the right way to do it is, you drop them all.
I can't be other people, right? Like you said earlier, if you don't like the game, don't get in it. That's why Emmett's not in it. Same with grading. Same with being on Whatnot. I love live selling. I do it every day. People come into my store and I sell to them live and in person.
You got one person in the room and you're going live.
Well, what's interesting about this, and people are talking about Todd McFarlane in the chat, and that gives me a chance to move on to my next topic. Todd just announced, and I want to give a big shout out to Swaggle House, who dropped a video about this today. He dropped this video just 5 hours ago. Todd McFarlane and Scott Snyder go Whatnot. Will this kill the CGC signature series for flippers? And we're going to talk about this video a little bit, but he did a really good job. Make sure you guys go check it out. It's his latest video. But he brings up Todd McFarlane, and let's talk about that a little bit, because last week we brought up Todd McFarlane's Whatnot sale. It's another perfect example of how creators are just completely sending direct to consumer, where McFarlane said, hey, these are personal, copies from my PC. I'm going to sign them and send them to you. And they sold for ridiculous amount, $300 to $700 to thousands of dollars, And it's very interesting because Todd McFarlane just announced he's doing another Whatnot sale, and this time more from his PC. And guess who's coming out? CGC is coming out. They're gonna, instead of where Comic Sketch Art is facilitating the Whatnot sale and the giveaway for Scott Snyder right now. Shout out to Brittany over at CGC. She's gonna facilitate, and CGC is gonna facilitate the Todd McFarlane Whatnot sale that's coming up, where they're doing personal stuff. And couple points about this. One, the personal PC collection stuff is interesting, and we got to give a couple big shout outs. One, shout out to Robert Kirkman and Big Clutch I remember them being the first people that actually kind of really in my head jumped into this idea, where Big Clutch did those Battle Beast blind bags collector packs through eBay Live, where he literally went to Robert Kirkman's warehouse and pulled Invincible copies from his warehouse, from his personal warehouse, and put them in those collectible packs, right? And then Mark did it with some of his stuff, where he put personal copies signed in some of his blind bags. And now people are really keying in on that. Scott Snyder's giving away his personal comp copies. McFarlane's giving away PC books signed by him, Yeah, they're warehouse books, I get it, quote unquote PC. But again, it's a very nice touch to the collectors that could say, hey, this was originally owned by Robert Kirkman. This is for his original,
If CGC puts that on the label, then we're talking about something.
Yeah, they are. They said earlier in the show they're doing
it. It's going to be personal Okay,
So
PC. Atomic.
so I bought years ago when what was the Silver Surfer story that Thanos that Donny Cates wrote with Silver Surfer and Cosmic Ghost Rider got introduced.
Yeah.
Way back then, I bought a ton of books from Comic Sketch Art that were from the personal collection of Donny Cates. CBCS agreed to grade them with that on the label. So, you know, I know Comic Sketch Art could have sold these books for insane amounts of money because I bought Donny Cates's book from them. All signed by Donny. They had to submit a letter to CBCS to say they would grade them. CGC would have done it too. So yeah, it's been a thing. And really, honestly, I think Comic Sketch Art is kind of the first ones in my mind to kind of pioneer that whole idea. It felt like a gimmick, but I gotta tell you, man, when I sold those things on Facebook Live, they went nuts. And I did the same thing, started them at a buck auction, and we were selling them for $300-400 each before that was a thing. Before, you know,
Yeah.
when that was a lot to sell a signed book for. And it was great. People loved them. Those slabs are out there somewhere. They're in old
It's a very
CBCS cases.
cool.
Nobody wants them anymore. But
It's a very cool thing, and you know, you have the like where CGC is doing the what do they call those? I'm blaming cannabis for this one. What do they call them? The like where it has a special label and it says where it came from. You know, like the Promise
oh, they just
Collection.
ended. Sorry.
Yeah.
He just ended the show and raided another guy.
Collections.
Oh, that's cool. So
They
so
just
basically,
raided. Sorry.
so
I'm sorry. I was
Who
watching
did
this
they
live.
raid?
They picked that Spider-Man booth.
so
I mean, shout out to JP, but that's cool.
so basically, that's a cool aspect for all of this. Yeah, pedigrees. Thank you, you guys. Jesus. So it's kind of like a different form of pedigree, and I like that. But here's the most interesting thing. And again, I want a big shout out to Swag for this one. We had a long conversation about this. I want to play this next part of his video. So here we go.
Solution. And I think it's really interesting because, you know, again, from Todd McFarlane to Scott Snyder to Dan Quintana to a lot of other artists, you know, we're kind of seeing them be more of the social media type of influence, you know, having the direct audience, doing the signings there, you know, building out their social media presence, building out their whatnot streams. And I really do think that this may not completely kill the con or completely eliminate the LCS signing, but now that we have a lot of these creators doing more B2C, direct consumer type of sales and things like that, I do wonder that, you know, if we look back 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if we'll start to see that, hey, you know, 2025, 2026, you know, live shopping, this is the time that it changed everything. And, you know, the hobby as we know it is definitely a lot different moving forward. And here's the real big kicker, and maybe the most interesting part of this conversation, and perhaps the part that you guys watching may be most interested in. If Todd McFarlane can do whatnot streams and sell direct to consumer and get the actual value for his autograph that the end collector who is watching that stream actually wants, because this is an auction process, what does that mean for all the dealers and flippers that take advantage of all of these CGC signed events? You know, we know so many people that send in, you know, 50 copies into those Todd McFarlane events, and there's a fixed price point on it. You know, it sells his autograph for $150 or whatever the case is, and then those people upsell them to, you know, their various platforms on things like eBay and things of that nature. But if Todd McFarlane is going straight to the customers himself, if Scott Snyder is going straight to the customers themselves, then those customers no longer need to buy from those retailers, from those dealers, from those flippers that are taking out some of that margin. And this goes back to our conversation on the ungraded truth about how MSRP is dead, and all the companies, including now the artists like the Quintanas, like the Snyders, like the McFarlanes, they're looking to get some of that secondary market value, and they may no longer need to leave some of that money on the table that all these other companies and flippers and retailers were taking up all these years. So very interesting to think about that. Yeah.
Wow, lot to unpack there. And that's just a small part of the video. Make sure you guys go check out the video. Shout out to Swag. But that is a big part. And I want to talk about this because that has become a big part of the retailer comic book industry. You know, people are making their money. And I have a lot of good friends like this. Shout out to Big Leg, who will go to cons. he'll spend, and James from Hive does this. I know, Sean, you kind of got your career in comic books kind of doing this, where you would go to cons, you would spend a couple of months either saying to your customers, hey, this guy's going to be at this con, I can get you signed stuff, it'll I'm going to charge you this much to get it signed, or just getting extra stuff signed and selling them on your live sales. Hey, I got this signed at the con, here's how much it is. It is basically pushing those guys out. And what's going to happen to those guys? I'll call them autograph hounds, people who are getting their autographs and kind of like, flipping autographs. There's a big group of people that do that in this industry. Matter of fact, people that will spend $40,000 to $100,000 getting books signed, 10,000 books signed by Ryan Otley, 10,000 books signed by Jagoda and Snyder. And that is their business models. They're flipping autographs. This is pushing those guys out. And what's going to happen to the world of con and autographs? If I can just go as a creator, if I can just go on Whatnot from my house, like Scott Snyder, why do I need to go to cons? And if I'm a con, what does that mean for con promoters? Like, this is a big deal that could break up a big subsection of the tent poles that I talk about in the comic book industry. If you know what I'm talking about. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Well, so in theory, yes, right? In reality, watch that show. There was a while there. How many people were not able to get a book from Scott Snyder? Now, he could do, let's say he did his own exclusive and he sold it at, I don't know, $50 a trade dress. He'd probably sell out of 3,000 copies. I'm sure he could, but like, we're forgetting that there's still retailers that do exclusives that want to get those signed, whose customers want to buy those books.
Yeah.
So we'd have to completely shut down the exclusive industry in order for this to become a reality.
Well,
Now, Tom
real
McFarlane-
quick, let's put a pin in
ahead.
that real quick, because I want to hit on that. What you say that, but what if the creators start saying, hey, the only way I'm signing stuff is by myself? Like, if they're not going to cons to sign stuff, where you have those retailers who go to the cons, like, Comic Sketch Art has that little green room that they do. And so many retailers who did variants would contact Comic Sketch Art and says, hey, I got a short box of a variant I did, with Brett Bean. I need to get them all
do it all the
signed.
time.
Yeah.
We
You do it all the time.
We set up
What if the
private
artist starts
signings,
saying,
yes.
I'm not even going to go to those anymore? Do you just
If
send them to them?
if they want to, they could very easily say the only way to get my signature is in my live stream, and they are going to piss off hundreds of thousands of fans. 100%. There's second and third order effects that happen from those kind of things. So, and when you're someone like Scott Snyder, who gives a shit about his fans, he's not going to do that. He's not going to say the only way to get my signature is by sitting. I feel like
I hope creators feel really key in on what you just said,
alienating more
because
fans. Like,
being able to talk to
Yeah.
for a fan to walk up to Scott Snyder, who's been following Scott Snyder ever since freaking Human Torch, his very first book that he ever did, and to walk up to him and say, hey, Scott, I want you to sign my Human Torch book you did, and this is the first book I ever remember reading of yours, and da 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 da. That moment is so important that I hope creators listen to what you said, Sean.
There's another thing these guys are not thinking about too. Like, artists and writers, they write and they draw. Most of them are not business oriented enough to say, I'm going to go live on Whatnot. I'm going to hire a shipping team and a Whatnot team and a live sales streamer, and I'm going to manage all this, and I'm going to hire them, and I'm going to manage them and supervise them and give them feedback and put them on my payroll and pay their taxes and start an LLC and file my tax. They want to write and draw. That's why they have agents. That's why Comic Sketch Art is there. And it doesn't say Scott Snyder's live page. It says Comic Sketch Art, because those guys know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Scott just wants to show up.
Real quick, Rye
sit
just
down
dropped a
and find
$5
books.
super chat. He said, Brian, did you follow Scott to the next stream? No, but we did see that he rated another stream, but I did not get to check out that stream.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And a lot of these guys, they just want to show up. If no one's going to turn down the opportunity to show up, Scott Snyder at $20 a sig to just sit there and do this and $20 a pop. I mean, who's going to turn that down to be like, I'm only doing this from my house from now on because
Yeah.
I'm going to make more money. And that's
Scott was
get
nice
what-
enough to give me 2 hours at my shop, and I charged nobody anything, 0.
That's
and
great.
people didn't show up. Like 20 people showed up. You
The next
think
time you do that, let me know.
How long
So
ago
people
was
just
that
kept
in
getting-
it?
it was pre-absolute.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
I would have had a bunch
pre-absolute.
of death metal still to sign.
Yeah, we did.
Death
There was a
metals,
lot of death
little
metal.
Batman run.
So I
And
really just
so
think
everybody did 5, and then he was there for 2 hours, so you could get back in the back of the line and do 5 more, and just keep going to the back of the line. Some people got 1 item signed and left, so the line got shorter and shorter, and people made more and more rings around the rosy. So
yeah, Queen's made a good point. It's straight up cash. Like I walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm going to give you $5,000 in cash to sign this." They're like, "Hell yeah!" We set up signings with every C22. We do a signing with Jenny Frisson, and it's a long box of books. She's super sweet about it. She's super nice. She just wants to show up and sign. We don't bug them. We don't ask them 1,000 questions. We don't try to push. We respect their time. And most of these guys just imagine how much money Scott made at that signing in LA just from signing books. I mean, look at Otley. They'll run a lot of show up to your booth. You're selling product. Your fans get to meet you. They want to interact with you. So I get what Swag is saying, but at the same time, it's just I don't know. It's a lot of alarmism. Tommy Farn's going to go live and so Scott Snyder. Oh my God, cons are going to die. No,
yeah, there's only about 10 guys that really could do it
yeah.
What do you
yeah,
mean?
and
What do you mean by that?
on a consistent basis.
What
There's
is
only
that?
10
What do you
guys
mean?
that
That can do
that
what?
they could go on Whatnot on a consistent basis and sell out and make
that
a
are
lot of
big
money.
enough.
That are big enough.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, and really they could, but then if that's all they did, they're just gonna piss off their fans. Like, imagine if, the only way to get Jim Lee's signature was on a Whatnot show that Jim Lee did. Like, he stopped going to cons and whatever, and he only did. People would just be like, you know what, screw this guy. Like, like it's just kind of jerky to do. I mean, I love the Todd McFarlane. So, and there's also convenience to this too. So let's take Todd for example. King Spawn sold what, 500,000 copies of King Spawn #1, and there's a 1 in 250 ratio variant. So 200, math check me, 200 copies, 2,000 copies of a 1 in 250 ratio that he had to sign.
Yep.
For everybody to all he had to do was sign those. Somebody brought him to his house, set him in front of him. He signed him at his leisure. So he got paid, let's just say $1 for selling, profit for selling 500,000 copies of King Spawn. All he had to do was write them and sign those books. He didn't have to go to a con. He didn't have to travel. Even if half of that, he got paid $250K for that, just for publishing and signing some 2,000 books. Now, how much could he have made if he signed 2,000 books and sold them live on Whatnot? Arguably more, right?
Same or more, yeah.
Arguably more, but then, like I said, he has to pay somebody a cut of that to do it. He's got to manage employees. I'm sure he already has Todd McFarlane Productions and he has thousands of employees or whatever. And he could have a Whatnot division, but then he's got to sit there and interact with fan talk.
Do you think
Todd
McFarlane will ever do another CGC signing after doing these 2 Whatnot sales?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
because
CGC offers them enough money.
Well, think about this, because the money he made selling autographs on his Whatnot sale, the things were selling for double what he would charge on at CGC.
Yeah, it's also about speed and efficiency too. Like, do you have to wait? Okay, now we're just really getting nuanced here, right? Like,
well, that's something that's good, because listen, CGC is saying, hey, we're going to fulfill this. But listen, also at the same time, CGC will fulfill your Whatnot sale too. They're working with him for his Whatnot sale. So if CGC, if the idea is, hey, the reason I do the CGC signings and stuff, because it's so easy. I just go in there, I sign. They do all the fulfillment. They do all the bringing in the money, everything. But if they say they're going to do the same thing for his Whatnot sales, why would he do any signings, bulk
See,
signings?
The people who want to cut us out aren't the artists, aren't Marvel, DC. It's CGC and Whatnot and all them, because it would be way more efficient not to have retailers. They would have all the business to themselves, and they could blow it all out online. And just using the people, not all retailers, they would use remember what I said earlier of like finding, if they found the people that could move 10,000 books a week, you get 10 of them, you're moving 100,000 books a week that retailers with 3,000 stores can't move.
Well, so if you're talking about a mail-in CGC signing, maybe not. If CGC is running the Whatnot shows, then that could definitely not be a thing for sure. Really, if he can make 3 times the amount in 1/4 of the time,
And so could
in one
CGC,
show,
right?
yeah, and it's again speed and efficiency. It's about how long does it take him to sign all those books at a CGC signing. There's
And,
so
and
many
you did
books.
say
They
there's
said he
only
was-
there's only a few creators out there that could like really do this. But again, to me, I feel like what's going to happen is it's going to create this like, best way I can explain it is almost like minor league, major league type thing, right? Where the same thing that kind of happened with the retailer exclusive game. Like you had these retailer exclusives coming out there, picking these younger artists that weren't didn't have big prices yet, and they did a lot of variants with these younger artists that became big. Whereas same type of thing with this, whereas the guys like McFarlane, Liefeld, Scotty Young, J. Scott Campbell, Scott Snyder, these guys are the ones that are going to you're going to start seeing more of this, where they're just doing direct to consumer straight from their house type thing. But you have the smaller creators, like the people like maybe like, and I'm not, I'm not saying they're small, they're big creators, Suspiria, Kari Andrews, Mark Spears, or not even Mark Spears. Mark's up there. He can just do it on his own. But like, there's certain creators that aren't at that level yet, where maybe they don't want to do it on their own and they want the fulfillment, and that's where the retailers come in, and that's when they go to the cons. Like the cons are for maybe some of the smaller creators. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Emmett said it too. There's only like 10 people that could do this. Like only so many people can
and probably only one writer.
Very few writers.
As much as
Frank
Todd
Miller,
likes to put his name
Frank
on it.
Miller's
But,
And also everything is cyclical. Like, okay, Todd, there's
James
some guys that are
Tynion.
just everlasting forces in this industry. But after 2 years after death metal's over, what was Scott Snyder doing? Would anybody have signed up for him to sign death metal 2s that no one gave a crap about anymore until Absolute came out? I mean, he had a successful Substack and he's teaching and all that stuff, but he wouldn't have been able to do this 2 years ago.
That's a phenomenal class, by the way.
Yeah.
For what he charges is ridiculous. If you ever wanted to write a comic, holy shit, join his Substack, because for that money, it's an NYU education. He taught at NYU comic writing. So
I need to get in there. But yeah, there are certain people that can do it, but I don't think it's the death. It's not the death of conventions. It's not
autograph. You don't think that it's going to put a big chunk or a big?
I think I think autographs are coming to a glut. I'm not a variant guy, but like I would much rather have a variant than like an autograph of like, if you want to relate it to sports, it's the difference between, a Bob Feller autograph, who Hall of Famer, great ball player, but he signed everything like forever. And I don't know if he's still alive, but I know he was signing quite a bit. Like, I have 6 Todd McFarlane autographs on my wall.
Dibs.
And
send pics.
They come through all the time.
It's
these guys have signed a lot.
So that brings up the question, again, this is another thing that we've talked about. If you're putting out too much out there, the price of it's going to go down. And we've seen that,
Emmett, if you were on Whatnot, you would not have 6 Todd McFarlane signatures on your wall. That's what I'm saying. Is like, it's like you say, in your universe, you can't move those SIGs.
Great
If I had
point.
those books, they'd be gone tomorrow.
Great point from Swag.
At a profit.
Swag's in
So-
the chat, and he says
What is that?
they wouldn't stop going. They would still do the big ones, but they would just skip the mid-level and small ones and supplement them with live streams. And they don't need to do
Less
business.
travel.
They don't need to do the business side. Comic Sketch Art will supply that. Scott's Collectibles will supply that. CGC will supply that. PSA will supply that. You know, Trinity will supply that. Yeah, totally, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a new thing. Like I'll always be able to. I have a huge signature audience, and if they find me too. So if I'll always be able to, we save books all throughout the year. If a great Nakayama cover comes out tomorrow, and I know I'm not seeing him for 6 months, I'll buy 5 copies and sit on them, and add it to my long box of Nakayama signatures. I coordinate with Darren from Unknown and whoever else is repping him at the time. Hey, how much for SIGs? How much to get a discount SIG? If there's no discount SIG, like I said before, I've done with Tinian, like no discount signature, it's straight up this much. And I'm like, nope, I'll take my long box home. If they will give me a SIG for a discount price, and I know I can move those books at that price, then I'll do it, no problem. And I'll always be able to make money on it. Always be able to make money on it. You know, vast majority of the time.
Yeah, but
margins
are changing rapidly, and especially with autographs, right? Your margins have shrunk immensely, I think, with autographs, because this is a great point that where Sans Comic Group says, can someone explain to me where all this money is coming from? How are people paying $1,000 for every book and whatnot? And that's a great point. Like at some point, people are going to go, hold on, these are selling for too much. Creators are charging too much for their signatures. I got to buy in for $70 for the exclusive to begin with. You know, like, are people really going to continue paying $1,000 a book? Like, that's the scary part.
Yeah, no, I've been saying that forever, brother. I've been saying that you know, when I've encountered that where creators are like, my signature is now worth this much, and I'm like, the F it is. Like, I'm not paying that because I can't. There's no meat on the bone.
It's not worth it to you. Yeah, there's no meat on the bone.
For a flipper or a retailer, I got to make money too. And like you said, if you just want to cut us out and just keep all that money for yourself, that's fine. But you're also leaving a lot of meat on the bone, in my opinion, too. Right? I get the philosophy of, you mentioned it a little while ago with McFarlane. His signature used to be worth more because there were less out there. I get some artists have the mentality of, I'm going to charge more so my SIG's out there less, so it's worth more, so I can keep the charge more. Okay, you can play that game, but what happens when you're not the hottest thing in the world right now? What happens when your time fades and someone else is super hot, when there's the next Absolute in 3 years that everybody wants to buy? What happens when Donny Cates comes back to writing Marvel again and his line's around the freaking block because he's the Marvel Jesus for comic books? You know, like, what happens when that day comes and nobody wants your stuff anymore? So,
by the way, I want to make a "What Would Donny Cates Do" t-shirt.
Yeah. Well,
not be able to finish a book.
There's a lot of jokes there. A lot of jokes I'll leave on the table. I like Donnie. He's a good guy. He's been to the store signing.
Hey, we're rooting for Donnie over here, man. We want Donnie back in comic books.
Man, he puts fire under a book. I just like him to see it land the plane one fucking time.
But I mean, you're right about you know, the people will start saying, oh, retailers, but you know, here's the thing, retailers aren't charging $1,000 for a book. They're getting bid up to that, which is a problem. And those whales out there that are dropping $2,300 for a book, and they realize that either this is a bad investment, or hey, maybe it's just some dude trying to, instead of buying paintings at the end of the year to burn money in a loss, they're buying massive signatures now. By the way, my name is Sean Hidachko. I run Comics Elite. We have 3 different whatnot channels. Come burn some money in my channel, please. I'll sign whatever you want and charge you $3,000 for it. I'll tell you right now. So, but yeah, eventually those books are gonna fade away. You know, go try to sell a Fame book for what you paid for it at a con, that $80 plus a signature nowadays. Good luck with that. But anyway, it's people still, there's still lots of normally priced signatures out there. You know, we sell a signed book by Scotty Young for 30 to 40 bucks, depending on what it is. It comes with a COA. That's not a bad price, in my opinion. It cost me probably $30 to get there, to get in line, the travel, the signature cost, blah, blah, blah. I'm making enough money to keep the lights on, you know, not overcharging it. Scotty's not charging a crap ton of money. He's the one that could do it, one of the 10. If he went live on whatnot, talking about leaving money on the table.
J. Scott Campbell. Rye just dropped another $10 super chat. He says, no meat being left on the bone. In the end, all of our values will be hurt. And this is another great topic that I want us to go into is, you know, I think a lot of we're in the cyclical time, this cyclical thing where flippers are good, flippers are bad, flippers are good, flippers are bad. And I think that we have to realize that there are some flippers out there that have given a lot of other flippers a bad name. But we have to also realize that the flipper world is what helps create that excitement that launches Dan Quintana, that launches Clay and Seth Mann. And their art ultimately speaks for them no matter what, right? Yep. Their art that's why they're there. But when that secondary market and that excitement happens and people are going, holy cow, I bought this book for $100 and I can flip it for 600, or I bought this book for $20 and I can flip it for 40. And then every book and this fervor starts happening. That's an important part of the whole community and the zeitgeist, or whatever you want to call it. That is an important part of the process. And the secondary market really helps you kind of like, okay, what are people really into right now? And how do we know they're into it? Well, we know they're into it because they're spending a ton of their money on it, and they're buying it, and then they're telling people, they're showing people they bought it. Hey, I bought this. Like, there's a Mark Spears collector out there that has been buying up all the Wonka ticket books, all the Krampus books from the winter, and he's just posting them all, boom, on his IG. And that's the type of thing when people are spending that type of money on it and then saying, hey, look what I got. That is the type of thing that we want to see. And they're buying from flippers, right? And they're getting them from flippers, and they're saying, hey, this is this. And so there's like a healthy part of this that we have to say, we want the healthy part. The unhealthy part is the people that are out there that just instantly see money signs. Money, like, you know, oh, these books are selling for $1,000. Well, we need to put them up for $1,500. Like, man, come on, man. That's you're ruining the fun. You're pushing people away. People don't want to get involved in that. They feel like they're being taken advantage of. And when people are being taken advantage of, that sucks. That's not good for the hobby at all, to see people taken advantage of. So yeah, sorry. Right. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, totally. There was a lot of people being taken advantage of in that situation. And what does it cause? Yeah. In my opinion, it's caused Scott Snyder to come out and go, you know what? I'm going to clear out my comps and give them away, because I want to thank you guys for showing, you know, I know this happened and it sucks, but I'm going to show you guys my, you know, this is my thanks to you. Rye dropped another $10 super chat. He says, I was a teenager in the 90s when that bubble popped. It hurt seeing all my favorite comic shops close up. Fucking A, man. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
And the people that we praise so much for changing the industry and being innovative, they were the ones that sucked the life out of the industry, that made the bubble pop, right? Before Image, there were so many indie publishers. And when Image came in and sucked up all the people who were interested in independent books, they all closed down first. Well, First arguably is still around, but Pacific, and we had the guy on from Pacific, and Capital went just before that, but a lot of these guys just closed up shop, and we didn't have the choice that we had before. It was great that these great creators broke away from Marvel and DC, but the change wasn't good for everyone. And then when all that little stuff was gone and people were so excited about it and people were overpaying for books, people were having cases of it. And then they brought it into shops and they were like, "Hey, I want to sell my case of Spawn #1s." And they're like, "I have 4 cases in the back. I I can't buy your case
Yeah.
at what you think they're worth." Um, and now, okay, like if you saved them till now, which is what, 40 years later, they're about $20 a piece now. I think they were like more than that 2 weeks after they came out.
I'll be right back, you guys.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a weird time in the industry. Like, I talk to other retailers all the time, and I'm like, what do you think? Like, what do you think about exclusives? What do you think about this show? How should we sell? Everyone's always looking for the next cool way to sell a comic, right? The next cool way to get some excitement, to get some hype, to get people excited about your variant or your book. I mean, I preach all the time about stories that people should read. I've been beating people to go read.
YouTube's no good for not no good for reviews because there's a lot of good reviewers. It doesn't move the needle for a book because it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too
Yeah.
late. The FOC
And
is over.
Yeah, and it's not forever content. It's not something
Nope.
where,
Oh,
I
that
do a
book
video
came
on
out
what's
6
hot.
months ago. I'm not watching that again.
Yeah. What's hot this week? People watch it, if I'm lucky, that week. If they miss it, they just wait for next week's book. Like we're filming tomorrow because our books keep coming in late. And it's like, well, tomorrow everybody already has their books most by the time I get the video out. So and unfortunately, a good story isn't enough. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, yeah, people will buy a cover A of Absolute Batman, but to make, big money, you need to, as a retailer, to pay for that $20,000 project or the retail exclusive, you gotta make a lot of money selling that
a lot
book.
of money.
So
I
the image
I
has to
make
be,
no money on new books.
yeah,
I make no
none.
money on new books.
I
If you're
preach that
opening
to
a comic shop, forget. There may be guys out there that are in a really big market, but I buy a little more than double what I have for subscribers, and I probably have a fourth of it left over. That once it comes off the shelf, it's pretty much worthless for a month or two.
the margins are so, and I preach this all the time. Money's so narrow. You don't make any money on new books,
No,
and no money on new
it's a
books.
traffic
Very rare.
creator. What
Yeah.
what do you
Mhm.
have to put somebody through? It's the same thing on whatnot. It's the same. It's a brick and mortar. It's just through a computer, right? How do I get people through my store, right? How do I get
Yeah.
them in the door? So what brings people? So whatnot tells you giveaways. Everybody loves giveaways. Well, you have all the giveaway hounds, so you have 40 guys in there that are trying to win a book, and 10 people in there that want to buy a book. I don't want those people. I'm not going
Yeah.
to give away anything. If anything, when I sell a book, I might put an extra book. If I ever did that, that might be my giveaway. Is like, you don't know you're getting it. When you open it up, surprise, there's another book.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Right.
agree with you. I don't do giveaways on Whatnot. The only giveaways that I do on my live sales, and I do eBay Live and Whatnot, is whenever I'm packing books, I give at least every other package something free, whether it's like a Mark Spears blind bag unopened, some cool type of book that, I think is cool, not fluff, no,
Right.
just, but something I'll throw in there. And recently, everybody that's bought something from me in the last, I don't know, 6 months of me selling stuff, they've gotten a free Mark Spears blind bag, in every single order that I sell. And I think that, to me, it's so much cooler to do that without saying you're doing it than doing it, because those people are going to go, "Oh, that's a nice little thing. I'm going to check him out." And, "Oh, I bought another thing from him. Oh, he put another one in there. That's cool." Rather than people just coming for giveaways. When you do giveaways like that, people are just, they're those giveaway hounds. Now, I will say this though. Whatnot is doing a good job of recognizing this stuff and trying to fix this. And I know eBay Live is in their growing phase. They're trying to fix this stuff because, you know, there is problems with both. Whatnot went through a lot of their growing phases. eBay's going through their growing phases right now. For instance, the cancellations thing. eBay put out this big, huge notice saying, hey, we're ending the cancellation nightmares for auctions. And I think buy it nows, but not for the live selling app yet. And I just saw Clutch put out a thing today where he had a huge Invincible sale where he had all these high grade Invincible keys and a guy didn't pay. He bought like 10 of them and didn't pay for any of them. He canceled them. So,
That sucks.
you know, like eBay Live is going to have to fix that because people aren't going to want to sell their big books on there if people are going to constantly cancel them and, you know, waste your time. So you cannot have that. So what I'm getting at is they'll recognize the problems and hopefully try and fix them, especially when we're vocal about them. If you don't think that Whatnot, eBay Live, there's a new live selling platform that's getting ready to pop. If you don't think that they're paying attention,
well, TCG is coming to America. TCG Live has been on in England for a while, and they're coming to America. If they're not already here, they're coming very soon. And I don't know if it's TCG Player Live, which is also owned by eBay.
There's a new one that I'm talking about that I've heard.
It's about Icona
called Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
Oh.
Have you guys? This is a new one that's coming out. It's called Cuckoo app, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this lately. So we'll keep an eye out on this one in the future. But I've heard a lot of people talk about this. They've been reaching out to people who are doing collectibles and comic sales and card sales and stuff. And it sounds like a new live selling app. Now, we're going to continue to see more live selling apps show up because it's easier to make the live selling apps. I mean, AI can make these things like this compared to, you know, they can create the frameworks.
Make an app in a night.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we're going to see a lot of these things pop up. And it's good because it's competition, because if Whatnot or eBay Live don't make the changes that we're asking for, these smaller ones will make those changes and say, hey, we've been listening. Come to us.
Yep.
Yeah. Know? Well, I mean, let's look at what Whatnot was 3 years ago. It's changed enormously. And let's be honest here. It is right now, eBay is coming up quick, but it's the standard for live selling. I mean, anyone,
and not just for comic books. It's
I heard about that Palm Street, but it's like Plants has started in Plants.
Well, hey, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Chris at KRS Comics. We over the last couple of years have been geeking out. I went to see him in we met up in San Diego. Me, Chris, Jose, a couple other people, and we're just sitting around bullshitting. I go, Chris, what have you been up to lately? He goes, bro, I'm deep in this coral game. I go, coral game? I go, like aquarium corals? He goes, yeah, you know about that? I go, bro, that's all my YouTube is lately, is nothing but corals and I don't own any aquariums, but I'm into like these corals and like black. And Chris says, the market is just going crazy on live selling and selling these corals. So everywhere out there, I mean, Whatnot, we saw the guys selling hammers, or Jesse talked about eBay Live, guys selling hammers, Whatnot, people selling koi fish. The live selling apps are here to stay. And the changes that they make that make it better for us will be a big deal in how, if they're successful or not in the future. So it's very interesting, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we talked about this before. It's changing the face of retail. It's changing people's lives actively. And, you know, people just need to get on there. I mean, it's not an easy start. You don't. So I give talks all the time about Whatnot selling and stuff like that. So we do, most of my guys now, we stopped doing giveaways for a long time. Now, almost every show we do nonstop giveaways. Every 5 minutes, we run another giveaway. There's reasons that we do it. Do they take a chunk out? Yes. Are there lots of goblins that win? Yes. I hate when I'm pulling orders and somebody wins 2 giveaways or even 3 the other day and they haven't bought a single thing, it's like, you freaking greedy little shit.
Has
Like,
anybody
I
noticed
had a
that?
local guy brought me a long box of stuff he won on Whatnot, where he was just going from stream to stream.
Yep.
When, because at work he could be on it, and he was just winning. He goes, what do you give me for all this stuff? I'm saying, well, it's all graded, so I don't want it.
Yeah. But I mean, there's strategies behind it too. Like, you have to follow someone to enter the giveaway. And my strategy always used to be, I don't want a bunch of followers that just give a shit about giveaways, right? But again, numbers matter. Sometimes if you have a higher follower count, how many times have you heard, Brian, you just hit 5,000 subs on YouTube? Numbers matter to people. So sometimes it doesn't matter how you get it. Did you get it? That's fine. It also,
Well, you could just buy them from the Philippines if you want.
you could buy fake ones, but that's so easy to detect anymore. Like, you don't want to, that'll ruin
very
a channel
easy.
or an Instagram
Yep.
page buying fake followers. On Whatnot, there's also people that win that have bought stuff. That makes me super happy too. There's people that have won stuff and then they buy something from the stream because they're like, oh, I'm going to get reduced shipping now anyway because I just won something. So now I can buy some stuff. So there's
So do they
also
have to pay shipping for a giveaway?
No, we cover the shipping.
Oof.
But yeah, so yeah, it costs. I mean, if we stream and make $3,000, we'll get deposited 20, 25, 24 because of giveaways and whatnot, fees and that kind of stuff. So, but it's also about, what are we selling? What are our margins on what we're selling? We don't do giveaways when we're doing new comic books because the margins aren't there. But if I'm doing exclusives and we're doing a speed sale or we're doing a drop of a new book, like they dropped, this Saturday, we're doing another drop of another Nectar exclusive. Thank you everybody who participated. Thank you, Brian, for showing that show. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
We're doing another one, and then we're going to do some more stuff like that because it's fun to me. I get a super low print count book out there. You guys get an amazingly great cover, foil, and I'll do giveaways the whole time. It just depends what you're doing. Anybody that's just starting off, Emmett, that advice, if they give it to a new seller, oh, do not stop giveaways. No, that's the worst advice you could possibly give somebody. This is what works for other sellers. Yeah, if you've been around and have 30,000 followers, you've been selling for 3 years, that'll work for you. And you have massive amount of product.
I'm going to reach out to Whatnot. I'm going to reach out to Jack and see if Jack might be down to come on, because I would love to talk to him about everything that's going on right now, because, I feel like, at least compared to the card craziness going over there, the comic book world on these live selling apps have been doing great, and Whatnot's been doing a really good job with the Whatnot stuff. But I also like to ask him some of these questions, like, what do you tell new sellers? Like, is that good to tell them? Because I'll be honest, for me, if I'm thinking about it from their point of view and from a new seller point of view, I would tell new sellers, I'd say, listen, what works for you is what's best to start off and figure this out. But here's some advice. Don't start things for $1 unless you're willing to sell them for $1. You need to realize that having less than 10 people in your live, you might not want to put up your biggest books. For your big books that you plan on make sure you put them up for what you're willing to take for them. And it's okay if they don't sell the first time. They might sell the second time or the third time. Giveaways are good, but they're not necessary. And if you're going to give away books, maybe start low, start small, and do small giveaways. And it's going to take some time to build build a fan base. But after doing it for a few, give it a few months and start slow. Don't put up anything crazy, and sell stuff for what you're willing to sell it for. Not expecting that people are going to bid it up. That to me is like some of the most important things to tell people. And I would love to, maybe for the people out there, that if you guys have comments or thoughts on that, put them in the comment section, and maybe it'll be something to bring up to Jack and see what his thought process or what Whatnot's thought process is, especially for a comic book seller. I'm not talking about anything else but a comic book seller.
Everything you said is 100% right on the nose. I tell everybody you gotta. There's 3 things: you gotta educate, You got to entertain, and then the sale will happen. If you know what you're selling and you're talking to them about the book, you're educating them about the comic. If you're entertaining, you're not boring, you're not monotonous, you're not rambling on about some bullshit like I always do on this channel. You're going to get people are going to want to listen to you. They're going to think you're fun. Do something exciting, educate, entertain, and then the sale will happen. More often than not, you're going to get people are going to follow you. You're going to start having fans of people who respect you for what you do. They like your style. They like how you sell comics. They like the comics that you have. You know, Jesse says all the time, retail therapy, and people just want to be there because he does his YMCA dance. That's entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. People in the chat have said they tune into Jesse's show on the top of the hour just to watch the dance. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's entertaining.
Yep.
You know, and Jesse knows the shit. He knows what he's selling.
Great comment from Soggy. He says, I feel like giveaways help a ton, even if it's something cheap. A card is 78 cents to ship, stickers, etc. That's a great point. You know, if you're going to do giveaways, it doesn't have to be something crazy. It could just be something fun. You know, it doesn't have to be nuts.
We used to give away bookmarks from our Kickstarter. We bought these little tiny crappy envelopes. The big ass label barely fit on it. You had to fold it over the top because we had the same those big ass and it was pretty cheap, you know, to ship. Now we actually do comics. But now and then you have the cost of the Gemini and the label and the labor of somebody to print it. So yeah, unless you're set up to do it and you understand the risk and benefits of doing giveaways, don't even do it.
Shout out to my boy Rye with his members only chat. He says, Sean, I really like seeing you on stream after you've had a few drinks.
It's been a while, man, but maybe I'll get on there again after a few. We used to have a blast on drinking on streams. It was great, but now Whatnot doesn't really allow it. You got to be careful. We had an incident at the shop. I had to say no more alcohol in the store, period.
Smart.
Because
a
couple things got a little weird there. So
you need to be, you got to put, it's fun to do stuff like that, but they got to be for special moments, like live, you know, I know you've gone to like the drinking draws. Like that'd be a perfect place to do something like that, or the drinking draws, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I also feel like, I mean, I do buy a lot of books and I have a lot of books, but if I was doing Whatnot or I may try to do eBay Live when it rolls out for everybody, but I don't want I want to save the stuff for the people who come. Like I've made my place a destination. I have people that come from all over the country.
Hell yeah.
And if when they show up, they're like, oh, you had these books, and I'd be like, oh, I sold them on Whatnot yesterday. Like I'd be selling so many books. I don't know if I could replace them fast enough.
Well,
I mean,
that's another worry.
You got that basement full of books. You did a sale on that Whatnot inventory.
Yeah.
You know,
I did.
Having a brick and mortar shop is a big deal for that type of problem. You know, you've been pulling in some pretty amazing collections lately. And you know, I know that you kind of said that like it's a good problem to have a bunch of inventory, and inventory is king, you guys. In this world of retailers, inventory is a number one thing.
It is.
Unless you can make inventory.
Well,
that's part of it. Making inventory is part of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So here's something else I'll tell everybody, and I say this to. Here's a bigger discussion for another day, Brian. I'll just plant the seed now. What's our exit from this industry? I may have mentioned this once or twice before. How do we get out of this? Yeah. Do we just? And I talked to artists and creators about this. Do we just die behind our tables at cons? Do we just die behind our stores? And if something happened to me tomorrow, my wife would have not a freaking clue what to do with. I have a massive statue collection. I would put my statue collection up against some of the top statue collections in the world. I have a massive statue collection. I can't display them. I'm heartbroken. I have so many comics. I have so many variants. I have so many slabs, just all kinds of shit. My wife would have no computers, monitors, televisions. I have so much shit that I own. If something happened to me tomorrow, my wife would dump it all for pennies on the dollar in some.
Give her my card.
Well, she would try to. My staff would try to keep things going for a while. They'd probably last a few months, and then everything would just go tits up because I'm not there running it. And then everything that's so precious to me that I think that's just no, oh, I can't let this go. This is my book, and I just this means so much to me. Someone's going to buy that for almost nothing. They're going to get it for such a bargain. They're not going to give a crap about it. So, in my mind, where I'm 53, right? I'm slightly older than Emmett because Emmett's a spring chicken, right? He's
No,
slightly
no,
older
I'm
than you,
the.
Emmett.
I think
I barely
I'm
got you. So
58.
yeah, and it's call an auction house that and they're going to auction it off for next to nothing, right? They're going to sell it in bulk. Some big what do you call it? House will come in here and do that stuff. So
Heritage
sale.
won't take anything under $200. So what are you doing with $100 book? You know?
yeah, it's and some of it, even if it was a $200 book, maybe it is to me if I hype it up on a whatnot stream and tell everybody how rare it is and important it is to me and to that market. But the average dude doesn't know what a naughty and nice Zerdy #1 signed by him is worth. They're not going to give a crap about that. To the right person, that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
An early Zerdy book that's signed
Yeah.
and graded 9.9 with a remark on it, that's a huge book. Most of my OA, no one's going to give a crap about some of that stuff. It means a lot to me. But anyway, so when I think about that, I'm like, okay, I'd rather have, instead of having that thing in a box next to the other thing in a box, next to the other thing in a box, I'd rather have that money in a bank account that I could actually leave. You know, if that's $100 book, then effing sell it for $100.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you hoarding? I'm not yelling at everybody.
No,
I
I know.
I'm like, why are you hoarding this stuff? Because it's worth it. And the F it is. It ain't worth anything until you sell it. Sell it. And then, you know, it makes me feel good to look at all my comics in my box. Okay, but how old are you? And what's going to happen when you pass, right? Like,
It's a fine line to walk because, you know, you don't want to get rid of your stuff, but at some age, and I talk about this all the time, I have grails that I will never sell until it's time to sell. And it's time to sell.
yeah, no, I feel you.
Perfect.
I got that too.
Shout out to Rye who just dropped this. He said with a $10 super chat, I'm educating my sons 9 and 12 what these things go for. My sideshow collection is killer. And that's what you should be doing. Hey, if you have kids or friends, hey, if anything ever happens to me, I have some stuff here. These are worth some money. Call this guy. Have somebody to call. Like, and this is a perfect example.
Do you need the life-size Hulk? Bust?
Shout out to
I do.
shout out to Nubia, Kyle's wife, who, you know, Kyle, my friend Kyle Stinson recently passed. He had this amazing collection. And like, what is Nubia gonna do with that? What is his wife gonna do? She doesn't know, you know, what to do with it. And it's a perfect example of like, hey, here's some guys that if I do pass, that you need to call and say, hey, what do I do with this collection? Like, have some people that you know will that care for you enough or respect you enough that they'll help your wife out or your kids out, or you know what I mean? Have those people in your life. That's important. It's an important thing to have. So, I mean, it's very interesting. And
I have a
all of
couple-
our
I have a
collections end
couple-
up going to someplace else at some point, sometime.
Yeah, I have a couple of crack deals worked out with some very close friends that will swoop in, take over, make sure she's taken care of to a degree. But at the same point, at what time, how much do I expect someone else to sell my collection for at what, even a 50% profit? Like, how much time, when you think about it,
Yeah.
let's say a dude's running a store and he's running a store, he can make $10,000 a week with his time. Why would he then take that time and sell my shit for $5,000 a week to give my wife $5,000? It's not fair to ask him to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then there's a couple guys in the chat like, my wife knows what to do. You may think she does, but when it comes to ask, give her a slab and be like, babe, put this on eBay and make some money.
Hey, Sean, Chad, shout out to Chad Cave, who just said, if anything happens to me, I've instructed my wife to call Sean.
I know what he has. That stuff will never leave my collection. I'll cherish it and nurture it. You got some 10.0 first signed eBAS covers in that
Oh
collection.
yeah, I
telling
love
you.
Chad. Chad's a
Good
long time
stuff.
community member over here. Good dude.
Yeah.
He's
But I just to
always
make
talked about you in a very respectful and holds
My
you
wife
to a
has
high
no clue.
standard.
that's all. I probably owe him some money. Thanks, Chad. Every time he says good things about me, I gotta give him some money. Just kidding.
My wife
No,
has no idea, but my kid is 35 and he works at the store now.
Nice.
And he'll
Nice.
be able to take it over if I pass. He'll be able to run it. So
I love
DJ
hearing those kind of legacy stories too, like that.
yeah.
DJ says, where's Dennis and Jesse? Jesse is, he had to take the night off. He had some stuff he had to deal with, and Dennis is on vacation. But go check. He dropped a couple new videos on his YouTube channel. I'll drop the link in the chat for his YouTube channel if you want to go check out Wonderworld Comics 2020 is the YouTube channel. Okay, so I want to jump and Sugu into a different topic real quick because the Queen in Black stuff is on FOC, and we kind of talked about this backstage.
Not anymore.
It was on.
It was on FOC.
Last
yes.
night, it was your last shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to the two retailers that I have with me, did you guys pick up any? What was your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Emmett?
I
Go
didn't
ahead,
hit
Emmett.
it. I didn't hit it like Sean, but from my shop, it's a lot.
That's what she said.
I bought one of the boxes, the $149 suggested retail, and I bought 20 of the regular bags, and I bought A, B, and C cover. I don't know, 4, 3, and 2, I think.
Okay. So basically what's going on with this, you guys, is you have the blind bags, which have covers that you can only get in the blind bags. You have ratio incentives that 1 in 25, a 1 in 50, a 1 in 100, a 1 in 200, a 1 in 500, and a 1 in 1,000. And then you also have the blind bag cases, which you can buy, which they're cases of 19 packs, I believe. And if you buy the case, you also get a special Patrick Gleason cover in those that comes with this that you can only get in these cases. So it's very interesting. A lot of people, we talked about it on Saturday night. I mean, really good. J. Scott Campbell won at 500. Let me go ahead and show that. I mean, just fantastic. J. Scott Campbell. And now the one in 500 is a virgin, but still, both of them are going to be great. There is
that 1 in 200 though.
What's that?
That 1 in 200 though.
This is the Ji Hung Lee. Yeah, 1 in 200 is fantastic.
Oh,
I love the spider web design on her.
I think the trade dress helped. They should have shrunk a little bit, but that trade dress helps that cover, I think.
I want to say this real quick. That's a great point. Marvel trade dress design people, there's certain things you can do that can make things so much better, and like hire people like Jay Gonzel, Tim Daniel, like people out there that are really good at design. And like you're right, that Queen in Black should have been a little bit smaller and maybe behind the art. So like her headdress peeked out from it, like this little piece peeked out from it. There's certain things you could do that make it so much better. This is 1 in 1,000.
I'm such a stickler for trade dresses on my covers. I spend so much time sometimes explaining to my team how to put the trade dress on, because I've seen some bad trade dresses. Like you said, that one should have been behind, could have been way better. Anyway,
yeah,
you're correct.
Yeah, I think that it's very interesting. This is the 1 in 100 Scotty Young on this one. But again, yeah, Cicada says I only got a dozen because Al Ewing, but it's about the covers, of course. I don't think Al Ewing's a terrible writer. I hope that he does something well with it. But like Emmett's saying, like, I'm just not too.
Well, didn't he write Immortal Hulk, which was really good, and I think probably the best thing he's done ever.
Yeah, he's also written some mid stuff.
Yeah,
not being. I can't write shit, judging other people's writing, but when you're a writer for Marvel, you put yourself out there to get judged.
Yeah.
So
It is subjective. I mean, I just never get anybody coming in and saying, "Hey, when's the next Al Ewing book coming out?"
There's a
I get
really
a
cool
lot of
connecting.
where is Brian K. Vaughan?
So I am super pumped about this blind bag because they finally did the right thing, and all the blind bag covers are not open order covers. Finally.
Yeah, great job,
It was
Marvel.
easy
Like
before.
finally paying attention to what the pulse of the market wants. And not only that, Sean, I mean, this is a great idea too. This is the type of thing that we've been waiting for to happen for a long time. Like if these can start showing up in comic brick and mortar shops, maybe other retailers like maybe GameStop, uh, baseball card shops,
Yeah,
TCG shops. Like this is something that could be very interesting and good on them for making you can only get the certain covers in the blind bags. The other covers you can get regularly. Like this is the way to do it. And I can't wait. They haven't
this is the
announced how
perfect
many.
way to sell comics in other type stores like you brought up, which we need, right?
Yes.
So, okay, it doesn't have to be every comic available, but if you have a special book, this could be on a counter. They buy the box sealed. It comes to them. They pop it open. No returnability. You sell what you got, and that's it. And I'm guarantee you, if it's in certain places, guys will come in and just buy the whole fucking box.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well,
Well,
think
it
about it
comes
at
with
$150 MSRP, and I get it. Shout out to Swag who said in his latest show with the guys talked about his MSRP dead, and that's a very interesting question because MSRP is kind of a thing of the past, and they're putting an MSRP on this of $150, I think.
Yeah, I
yeah,
did.
that's what it was. That's what it was. 150 was MSRP.
So
And
retailers
it
should
comes
get it
with
for what, about half price? You think is that what the case is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
That's
75.
good to me.
So
You could do $10 a bag, or
Somebody said they bought it. I don't know who they said they bought it from again. Somebody was in the chat and they said they apologized because they bought it from somewhere for $95.99.
well,
not
I heard
bad.
Midtown
Now
had it on
there,
sale for like 110 or something.
Exobot,
This is the Patrick
Yeah, so
Gleason variant
DCBS.
that you can only get
So-
in those
DCBS.
boxes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
only comes in the box. So that variant could pay for the box, at least half the box.
Well,
if,
kind
you
of.
know.
Here's the only little nitpick I have with it, and we were talking about this recently when we were brainstorming. It would have been cool if they would have had this variant that you can only get in these cases, these 20-pack boxes. If it
But
would have
not
been
know which one.
randomized in one of the packs. Now, the way they did it is it's in a clear poly bag, so you can pull that variant out each time. But it would have been cool if it would have been one of the hits. Like, okay, it's random. Which one you grab is going to have the Patrick
These are
Gleason.
a gift to the store. This is a one per box. Some people will probably buy a lot of boxes, but it's going to be a limited. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's probably, it could be more limited than some of those ratios.
the
But it's not one per
25 for
store. It's
sure.
one per
25,
box.
150.
So-
One per box. That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah, one
like,
per
It
box.
would have been cooler if it was random in the packs rather than you can just pull it out. You
well,
know?
that's
Yeah.
who is it for, right? If you can see it, it's for the retailer to make money.
Yeah, as
And
as
if
a
you can't
fan,
see it, it's for the fan.
But don't you think
Yeah.
that the retailer would make more money off the idea that, hey, this is one of the hits that you can pull if you pull that pack?
If you sold that way,
not for $75 investment to try to get a box. Like I bought 10 boxes because I knew I would get one of those in every box. If it would have been random, I probably would have ordered 3. I would have
Yeah.
ordered less.
Yeah.
So I agree with
keep
you,
talking.
Brian,
This,
as a-
I'll be right back. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, as a fan, I agree. It'd be cool if it was randomized in there, but as a retailer, I don't like random things so much. I like
look,
certainty.
I don't know. I don't like when they send out a secret variant and don't tell us about it. It ends up on my shelf. I've sold so many secret variants to my customers. So
for,
like
for $4.99.
and I don't worry about it anymore. I sold the Spider-Man, Superman today. Not today, but I put it in his box because he came in. He goes, "Oh, I want the 1 in 25." I sold it to him for the $5.99, $6.99, whatever. No, the book is $7.99, right? So I gave it to him for
Yeah,
$7.99. But
yeah,
you know,
honestly,
because I don't have a place. I don't want to put that in a bag and a board, put it on my wall, and say, oh, I want $25 for that.
yeah.
Maybe online.
So if you guys want to, so Null versus Hella, I think you meant. You know, if you really want to do a deep dive, just go to League of Comic Geeks like Brian does and search Queen in Black, and you'll see there's a couple tie-ins for there's a couple tie-ins with the connecting cover. Looks really cool. You know, don't click on the specific cover. You can see there's another tie-in with Beta Ray Bill is in it, and it says in the flavor text, I'm not going to tell you guys if you don't want to know, but it kind of gives you a little bit of idea what the story might be about. So this is shout out to the old school speculators out there, but this is how speculators speculate: is you get as much information as you can from the solicits, then you make an informed decision as you can on what's on FOC. Don't tell anybody, because once you mention it, the spec is dead before FOC. You don't say till after FOC. Then you're like,
Which
hey, this
means there's less books ordered. They want
Yeah.
less books ordered, right? Because they need it limited.
Exactly. They don't want anyone else to know about their specs. So when the spec hits, they're like,
Right. So
I knew
that's
that
the
was a
part of
good spec.
that's the flipper part I don't like.
Is
Right.
what?
Because
Explain
it's
it.
bad for the. Well, if they don't tell everybody, hey, this is going to be a great book because X, Y, and Z is happening, you should buy it on FOC. And then they want it to be quiet. So as soon as FOC
Yeah.
ends, then they're blabbing to the world. You know, oh,
There's-
FOC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest here. There's groups out there. Maybe they died for a while, died down because the spec market wasn't there, but they're coming back where there's discords out there of dudes that talk about spec. They keep
That's
it to
how I got
themselves in
into
their
this,
little group.
Sean. That's the reason that the
Yeah.
content was started, that I got back into comics, was all because of CBSI, Comic Book Speculation Investing, before
Mhm.
Yellow Fellow took over. It was a great place, great community where people would talk about, hey, these are books that you could go pick up at basically any store for a couple bucks, flip for $10 to $20, and you know, save money to get that grail. Like, these are the books that are coming out this week that could be hot. Hey, this is where the Hot 10 came from. House of Stein Hot 10 came from those old CBSI Google Plus groups. Shout out to
Yeah.
Matt Saltzman at Trinity Comics, who, that's how I know Matt, is from the old school CBSI boards. Like, a lot of retailers got their start in those CBSI boards. And I
Yeah.
hope that more of those places, those Discords start. You know, I think they're great to create like communities, as long as you're not just being douchebags about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's some
Mhm.
douchebaggery that goes on in those worlds. So
Yeah. No, bro, you guys were the gold standard of spec like for years. I mean, I would come into my store and Ernie would be watching you guys. He was in your guys' group for a while. He'd have you guys up, listening to you, watching, and I'm like, he's like, I'm trying to find out what's good this week. And he's like, he's like, we need to order a whole bunch of this book. Why? Oh, it's #1 on CBSI. It's their top 10. They got this book on there. I'm like, and it worked many, many times. You guys have
Yeah.
helped me make a lot of money.
well, it was kind of interesting. I mean,
There were
it's
some
fun.
misses in there too, but
There are a lot of misses in there, and we've been doing, shout out to Ben Steiniger and the House of Stein, who we're getting ready to do Stein packs 12 or 13, I believe. And I've got, for those of you guys who are ready for Stein packs, just some of the stuff I'm going to be putting in there. I've got a CGC signature series, Rob Liefeld first cable. I've got some really crazy variants that we're putting in there. We've got a 6-time signature series 9/8 of the Grommets signed by the entire crew, all kinds of stuff, plus crazy books that are going to Stein Packs 11. But anyways, you know, Ben Steiniger for the House of Stein has been doing the Hot 10 list for 10 years now. And the biggest thing that he always talks about is, if you're seeing these books on the hot list, you probably missed your
Too late.
window to sell them. You know, because they're going to start on their downward trend. Sometimes
Mhm.
everything's spec is cyclical. You hold it long enough, dead spec turns into hot spec. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's a very interesting game, and it's a fun game to play if you're doing it for the right reasons. There's a lot of people out
Yeah.
there that see money signs and they're like, I'm going to take advantage of some people and instantly make some money. And I'm not there for that. I'm in for the long haul. I'm in for relationships,
Yeah.
creating friends, creating a community, creating that's what I'm in it for. And I think those type of things, those type of discords, Facebook groups, whatever they are, they can be really cool places for that, but they can also be very, very uh toxic. So
I was gonna
just be
say
careful.
toxic, very
Yeah.
toxic,
Yeah.
very toxic. There's a lot of ego in there, and a lot of I should tell you guys a story one day of how Comics Elite like started. It was pretty. Talk about ego gone wild. It's a pretty crazy story, but um, I would love. I mean, is there a who's going to start the Beyond Wednesdays Discord if there's not one already?
There
You're not
is.
in
There's
it.
the Beyond Wednesdays Discord. The link is, I believe, below if you guys want to join it. We're going
Oh,
to be doing,
shame on me.
yeah, we're going to be doing, my problem is that, and a lot of people ask about the Discord. I love the Discord. Shout out to all the Beyond Wednesdays Discord's homies. It's just there's a lot of work to put into creating a community, and all of my time and effort is going to the YouTube channel right now. But that being said, we are currently working on getting merchandise done. We've picked a place that we're going to start using for our basic merchandise, our stuff like, that's print on demand, which is very cool. Shout out to Big Clutch for helping me on that. The Discord's going to start rocking again. We're going to start doing members only hangouts, where I go live on YouTube for members only, and then I'll put the link in the Discord. I'll put the Discord link for anybody that wants to just come and hang out with us, shoot the shit. So I'm going to do my best, just like I keep telling everybody else out there, and we talk about on the industry show all the time. Use all the tools in your tool belt that you can. Time is the most important thing that we have in this world that we're never going to be able to get back. And,
Yep.
pick the places to kind of, what's most
Mar-
important
mar-
to you.
margins suck on print on demand. Margins suck on print on demand.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it for free, but it's fun. It's still
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Fucking A. All right.
Either that or you buy 500 things yourself and then ship them yourself, and which is not fun either.
It's a lot of work. JPC says, when is the Beyond Wednesdays OnlyFans coming? Not anytime soon, brother. Not anytime soon. So unless you like 45-year-old dudes' feet, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think any of us are going to be jumping on
I think there's a
OnlyFans.
market for comic book Santa Claus over there.
Speaking of comic book Santa Claus, let's talk about pickups, because Emmett had some of the fucking most gnarly, crazy pickups that I've seen in a long time coming into his store. Tell the story before I show the pictures, Emmett.
Okay. So I have this guy that comes like 4 to 6 times a year, and he sells me like stuff that he's picked up at events. And he tells me this guy is in the city. He's not going to come up to me, and he does this sort of the same thing, but he on a higher level, and he just wants to get rid of all of his stuff. And would I go to the Queens to buy it? And I was like, I'll go anywhere if it's the right stuff, the right money, and a trip to the city is kind of cool. So I went into the city and looked at this guy's stuff, and sure enough, it's like from every music event, the postcards that are left out, he'd scoop them all up at the end of the night. Post for any free posters, anything. But he also went to like Cooperstown. He got engaged at Cooperstown in front of Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
Like his wife tells the story. Like the guy's a real baseball nut. I find out by going through his stuff, he's also a legacy ticket holder, because there was some legacy ticket holder stuff that they send you for free through the year. So yeah, so I started finding stuff, and then I find these posters. I kind of paid up, and I was not really happy. I thought I kind of got beat a little that it was going to take me a while to get my money back until I found this. This is a 3,000 hit club, and it was at a show, and it's almost every single player has signed.
That's crazy.
That's
dude.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron, Stan Musial, Lou Brock, Pete Rose,
Robin Yount, George
Yeah.
Brett, Dave Winfield,
Rod Carew.
Willie Mays,
Yeah.
Al
Yeah,
Kaline.
I
So
did some
how do you-
close-ups too.
How do you price that?
I didn't know he had it.
I mean,
So
but I mean,
he had a whole group of posters and
Yeah.
had them on the floor, and they were in tubes. And I got to the end and I said, I'll give you this much money. And he said, how about this much money? And I was like, okay, I'll give you that much money. And then I get home and I take it out and it's there.
I'll give you $20 more than that much money so you make a profit.
So that's the show.
Look at this one. This
at
one's
the
my
bo-
favorite. This I would rather
Yeah.
have this than the MLB one. And listen, I
No
get it.
Gretzky autograph though.
I
Makes
get
me
it,
sad,
but I like all the other players. Like I'm a
Yeah,
hockey
yeah.
guy at heart, bro. That is my favorite sport. So
Yeah, it's cool. A lot of old timers.
Bobby Hull,
Yeah.
man, that's pretty amazing. Next, I got Lanny
Then I did
McDonald.
close
I have
ups.
so many questions. So how do you so two questions for you. How do you move that
Johnny Buchek.
and
This is the problem. So this will take me a while to sell. I'll have to get it. So this is
Yeah.
what they send you if you're a member of the
Legacy.
Legacy Ticket Club. So this is like $150 to $200. And then he also had these. They were free giveaways, but they go from $2 to $5 to even $15. And those little Star Wars plastic things, there's 210 of them.
Wow.
So I'll get my money back just on those.
Rye
and
just
then he
dropped a
also had-
$5 super chat. He says, "Killer pickup, Emmett." I agree, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I have to get it put into a frame. I may let somebody like Golden do it. Golden's only like an hour and 45 minutes for me. So
That's what I would do for these the NHL and the baseball one.
yeah. And I think I'm gonna take him the Batman poster also. So
Maybe I wouldn't frame it, especially if it's not complete, but I would ask them what they think.
yep.
So that's
But
pretty
you know, they're
fucking
all Hall of
awesome.
Famers. There's like 12 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Mike Gartner I saw on there.
Yeah. Al Kaline is on the baseball one.
so do you have an idea what you think that thing is worth?
Rod
What do you
Carew.
value it at yet?
I think it's north of 5,000 for the baseball one.
Oh man, that's incredible.
Yeah, the Batman poster, Lord Zero, we talked about last week. He had an old school
1966 television preview poster signed by Bob Kane, Neil Adams, Infanto,
Carmine Infantino,
Infantino, yeah, and
Jerry
Gene
Schuster,
Colan, yeah,
Jerry Robinson.
yep.
So,
It's a one of a kind too, yeah.
yeah.
But I guess they did a lot of those posters that weekend. You know, this was back in '95 when sports collectibles were on a down. He
Wow.
probably paid $20 a sig, maybe, if that. They might have bought the poster and had everybody sign it. You go down the row, you know?
Yeah, one of those events. Like Brian said, everything is cyclical, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
totally. In a major way.
Great pickup, man. Congratulations on that.
Listen, my area, you know, being in the metro area, the New York metro area, you know, Marvel and DC were here. Yankees and Mets have been playing here forever. The Brooklyn Dodgers. I got Brooklyn Dodgers stuff recently. It's here. There's tons of it. It's every one I go to. It starts out as crap, and as you get deeper, you go, oh, what's this? What's this? Yeah, I found he had a bunch of signatures of like Greg Luzinski, not a
Yeah,
Hall of
old school
Famer, but
catcher. Yeah,
yeah, he had
had a
like
son
just
that played baseball.
yeah, ton. There's just there has to be over 20,000 pieces. You know the signs they give you when you go to the stadium that like have K's on them, or um, I have a whole bunch of the Clemens 300 on the week he was trying to make the 300 win. He has like 45 of them.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
People love that stuff.
So
We talked about it
it's
last
just
week
a
with the
tonnage.
way people collect ephemera, you know, anything, little giveaways in magazines from the 30s.
Yep.
You know, promos from the 30s. You guys know I love and talk about promo comics all the time. That's exactly what these type of things are. They're just promo things that they give away. I was going through some old stuff the other day, and I found these old promo posters. They're like these prints that they gave out at, was it Avengers Endgame, where Robert Downey Jr. says "I love you 3000" or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's the Infinity Gauntlet, but the Iron Man one, and it says "I love you 3000" on it, and they gave these away at the movie theaters when that movie came out. You know, things like that is what Emmett's talking about, that this guy just picked up everywhere, and
this guy kept coupons with New York Yankee players on it.
That's
like
great.
Derek Jeter, like 30 cents off Jiffy peanut butter.
That's great, dude.
Wow.
Imagine if that was
10
Babe Ruth from
Yeah.
32. Like, holy shit, bro.
What was it? 2017 World Series.
Shout
He
out to
has the
Mrs.
Daily News.
Mrs. Horsecock Express says, classic OG community member. Grateful Dead handbills and show posters are big money. Totally, bro.
yeah.
I got to get me a Skull and Roses poster. I'm not a huge Grateful Dead fan, but one of my grails is a Skull and Roses
Yeah.
poster.
Well, I'll tell you, there is an auction running through Auction Zip right now with one of the guys who was a roadie for the Grateful Dead, and he kept everything. There's t-shirts, posters, Macintosh amplifiers. His name is something Jones.
Sheesh.
Let's see if I can find it.
That Auction Zip site.
Yeah, it is, sir.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, you did find it? Yeah, it's the estate of. No, that's not it.
It's not it.
Search Macintosh, and you'll see a yellow. Because I was looking for a Macintosh amplifier, because they're some of the best in the.
Well, anyways,
world.
Shout out to where's Steve Borak? Steve, if you're listening, he probably already knows about it, but he's a huge Grateful Dead fan. And Mrs. Horsecock Express says the flying eyeball. Amen. That auction is crazy expensive. I want one of those flying eyeball ones too.
I just sent you the link to the auction.
All right, here we go.
In the private chat. Then go at the top where it says back to catalog. That's just a case for a Macintosh.
Oh yeah, look at that old school shirts.
Yep.
Freaking
pedals.
Yeah, guitar pedals.
Guitars.
Jerry Garcia handwritten tab
set. Yeah. Drawing book of Jerry Garcia. It's just, if you are a Grateful Dead fan, this is the fucking auction.
Wow.
Speaker boxes.
Ramrod's 72 tour passport. A Jerry Garcia belt. Oh, look at that beautiful big Steve Parrish, Oklahoma license plate. That's gorgeous. Old school Deadhead license plate. Yeah, this is the type of stuff people are going to just geek out for. And
they're starting them very affordable. I mean, other than the equipment, which actually has serious value, t-shirts are starting out at like $25. I think they'll see they're probably going to see around 400 or 500 easy.
Old
I
school
sold the last
backstage
Grateful.
passes.
Yeah, my last Grateful Dead vintage shirt sold for $350, and mine didn't have this kind of provenance.
Old school steely fucking shirts and pictures and posters.
And equipment.
Oh,
It's
look at that.
crazy.
That's cool. Old school, the satin Celtic stuff. Look at that. The old school Lithuania shirts. That's dope. From when they were in the 92 Olympics.
Yep.
The Lithuanian basketball team had these shirts made by the Grateful Dead for their basketball team. And look at that.
Oh,
Isn't that dope?
I wonder what the hell that was. I was like, why are those there?
Yeah. That was during the 92 Dream Team run too. Old school airbrush artwork from Jerry Garcia. Old school t-shirts. Tickets, backstage passes.
It's just crazy. It's a huge auction.
Lyrics, set lists. Look at all the set lists. Full ticket stubs.
And this guy knew what he was doing. He was saving all this stuff that was being thrown away.
Jerry Garcia original drawings.
Yep.
Wow. This is pretty amazing. So Auction Zip is where you guys can find this, you guys, for all you Grateful Dead fans. Speaking of pickups, it's not really a pickup, but you guys did have a really cool sale this week. Last Saturday you did it, Sean, for your Nectar variants, which we kind of keyed in on because I fucking love those variants that you did with Buechler. Is that the name? What was the name of the artist on this one? Sheldon Buechler. Sheldon Buechler. Yeah. And you sold these the foils, and you only sold them for a 24-hour period, right? And that's
No,
it.
1 hour.
1 hour? Are you
1
kidding
hour.
me? Wow.
1 hour. I narrowed it to 1 hour. Yeah, we did it for 1 hour. It was on Whatnot, the website, and the Patreon website. It was a very odd time for me to do a show, or for me to sell on the website. It was 10:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't drop comics 10:30 at night on the website. And yeah, it was limited to whatever sold during that time frame. So
Do you know how many sold? Do you have the final
I
number?
want to say it was only like 110 or something.
Wow. So only
Wow.
110 print run on these, you guys. Congratulations to
and-
everybody that got these. That's super cool.
Yeah, if they have individually numbered koas, they come in Mylars. It was a fun show. There's
Beautiful
another one
art.
this Saturday for another cover from Shelby Robertson. We're doing the same thing. Same thing for Nectar, number 1 second print. And I plan on doing these for a while. I put it on Instagram if you want to see it.
How long is Nectar going to run? Is it a 6 or an 8 or a 12?
I don't know. Issue 3 was just on FOC. I liked issue 2. It was pretty good. So I was
Shout out
kind
to
of
Shelby Robertson, by the way, who every once in a while he'll be hanging out in the chat. Really good artist, good dude, good creator. Here we go. Here's the Shelby
yeah, I've
Robertson
known
one.
Shelby for years. Yeah, I really like this one. It's super cool. But yeah, he busted that thing out, colored himself, everything, like 100% him. Like the blood on the arms, the butterflies on the eyes. If you read this issue 2, kind of this cover makes like a little more sense. But yeah, it's really, really good. But
Yeah,
I got
I
more
like
of these
the
things
Nectar.
planned. I like doing these. It's just my own little way to make things fun and collectible, and it's a bit of a risk. Like Raider, how do you get to pick a book out in the first place? What do you say?
Do you get to read it ahead of time? So if you're doing that's a great question, because a lot of people don't know how retailer exclusive variants work. So go ahead and answer that, Sean.
Most times, no. You don't get to read anything. You get to say, like for Image, Marvel, DC. I put a request in today for a cover for Absolute Batman 22. I have no idea what's going to happen. The solicitation is up, in Lunar, and it says it's going to be the origin of Harley Quinn. That's all I know. And some other characters I'm sure is going to be introduced. No clue who it is. No idea if a story is going to be good. You're just kind of going off of covers. I put in a request to do a Vampire Pirate cover. Shikari's on it. Got the sketch approved. No clue. Haven't seen the interiors. No idea. You really go in blind to a lot of these things, so the risk is huge. That's why people want a good artist, because the art is what sells these books. And if you want to read it, you're going to pay the $4.99 cover and read that one. You're not going to pay a $20 variant to read it.
Have you talked about the Absolute Batman 20 variant yet?
Not entirely yet. So it's probably going to be an Amazing Vegas exclusive by Scon. I said the artist, by Scon. It's got the Robins on the cover with the mech suits, as we've all seen. Trade, foil, and Virgin. But I haven't shown the image yet, but it's, as of right now, I can say this. The Virgin is going to be limited to 600, all signed by Scott Snyder.
Wow.
Koa.
How's that going to work? So are you going to destroy the rest of the copies?
Yeah. The other 400 will be destroyed. I mean, we're probably going to get 620 signed for damages, losses, but the Koas will be individually numbered 1 through 600. No book will be shipped or sold without a Koa. Full disclosure as always, full everything. And the trade dress and the Virgin, I'm keeping the trade dress limited to 3,000. That's what was printed. That's what it's going to be limited to. The Virgin had 1,000 printed. That one is probably going to be limited to 1,000, maybe 800, but probably still at 1,000. Depends on the damages and how the books come in, honestly, before I make that decision. A couple cases but they come on pallets, so they're usually not damaged at all. But I've had pallets take hits, so you never know.
Raider Nation asks, so do you get like a list of what's coming out and you kind of choose from there?
Yeah, all the publishers send out like a here's books you can do exclusives for. IDW does one, Image does one, Marvel and DC do not. You just gotta go out there and hunt on FOCs and dig.
Inquire.
So it's really just a shot in the dark. Actually, Marvel does. They used to do one. I haven't seen one in a long time, but they used to do a retailer newsletter for exclusives. But yeah, Image is great about it. IDW is great about it. All of them are really good about it, especially the smaller ones.
It's very interesting because we've kind of, here at Beyond Wednesdays, obviously you guys know we've dipped our toes in the exclusive game, and what Sean kind of said is it's fun to be able to work with the people that you're friends with or that you like and do cool things. And ultimately, like, you have to kind of decide what you want to do. Do you want to work that route? Do you just want to sell books, or do you want to do a little bit of both? And one of the things over at Beyond Wednesdays that we've kind of done is we've kind of, you kind of have to like look and see what's coming out on some of the smaller publishing stuff. Like, is there a series coming out that you think would work good with an artist that you're friends with or that you like want to do? And you have, it's like puzzle pieces you're having to put together. And I'll tell you this, 90% of the time it falls through and it's not going to work out. It feels like that has been a very interesting thing to have to deal with. And a lot of the times, they won't approve, especially if it's an IP they might not own. They're not, it's hard to get certain things approved or artists approved. And it's this weird game that you have to play. And it can be very tough. But at the same time, there's also other publishers and other titles out there that are very easy to work with. We brought up Pop Kill earlier on. Basically anybody can almost do a Pop Kill variant out there if you want.
Dynamite,
Yeah, Dynamite will do a lot of Vampirella, Red Sonja. Some publishers make it very easy, and some make it hard, and that's understandable. IP with Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, like those things are held dear, or they should be held dear. You see what Scott Snyder is kind of doing with the Absolute Universe. Like, not any artist can do an Absolute cover. Like perfect example. Sveta Shabina is one of the hottest artists in comics right now. They're not going to let her do an Absolute cover just right off the bat. They don't know who she is.
She has to get approved for DC first.
Yeah.
And then when she does some DC covers, I know artists that do DC covers that can't get approved for Absolute.
Yep.
For some reason.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy.
It's very
Marvel's almost impossible to get artists approved for. So I've gotten artists approved with DC. It used to be a little easier, but now, first covers I've had from artists, Carla Cohen, her first DC cover was with me, John Jiang, Nathan Zerdy, Ryan Kincaid. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I apologize. They're probably not watching anyway. But I've gotten quite a few first covers with some guys. And I mean, for other covers like Vampirellas and smaller covers, oh man, tons of people have got their first professional work. Not just me, lots of retailers have gotten first people their covers through Vampirella. Good shout out to them for making it easy to work with. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating if a certain person sees a cover and like, oh, you can't do that. The bazonkers are too big. You're like, okay, hey, they said you got to make them smaller. And then all the covers come out and you're looking in the back at all the other covers and you're like, how come this person got to do? Those things are humongous. And I had to go smaller with the ones for my cover. So it can get a little frustrating sometimes when you see a double standard or one person gets told no and one person gets told yes, but it is very difficult to get. Well, here's another problem that Brian mentioned too, is when you find out a variant is available, the cover art is due in a week. We need all the covers by Friday. It's like, what? Like, and you got to have an artist that can jump through a hoop and finish the art in
and if it's a traditional,
and then get it colored in 2 days if they're doing it.
Well, also, like a lot of publishers will say, hey, you can't pick what you want to do, but we have these available.
Yeah.
Marvel and DC have been doing that with their Superman, Spider-Man covers, and they did it with Deadpool, Batman. They send out a list of art to retailers and say, here's who you got to choose from. You can't even see the image. You just get to say, do you want this artist's cover or not? And as we all know, just because you have a good artist or a popular artist doesn't mean they can have a hit cover.
They're setting retailers up for failure, which is sad because as soon as they fail, they're going to be like, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. And there's I've taken 10% of guys' print runs, honestly, because I feel bad for them. I'm like, bro, that cover sucks. They told me this is all an artist they had. I thought it would be good. And I got this terrible cover. I'm like, I'll take 10%.
This brings up a great question, and I want to know this for everybody out there that's maybe listening on the replay. I want to know if you can answer this too, if you're a retailer out there that's worked in the retailer exclusive game. There is this thing where, like you could get the art from an artist, say, hey, this is what I got, and you don't like it, and if you're going to be spending a lot of money, putting a lot of money down to produce these, you want to make sure they sell. And there's a lot of retailers that be like, I don't want to tell an artist that I don't like this. My thought process is two things. One, set them up to succeed at first. Tell the artist, hey, can I give you my some of the ideas, here's some of the work I love of yours, and here's some of the ideas that you might want to pick from. And then set them up to succeed on those. And then if you're able to, hey, give me prelims, and I can say, I like that, I don't like that. If I'm able to do that, I'm going to be much more happy as a retailer / person who's paying for the variant to get the variant done than otherwise. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And a lot of people feel like, I don't want to tell an artist that I don't like something and to have them change it. And I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
I tell guys all the time, you got to learn how to say no to an artist or tell them that you don't like the cover. And it's the hardest thing to do for some people because you're like, I can't tell this person that I don't like the cover. It's like, yes, you can. You, especially if you're paying
Spending
for
a
the art.
lot of a lot.
If you're paying for the art, here's a bit of a problem. Marvel, DC, you don't get to see the art until it's done. You can put in a concept, you can request an artist, and they'll let you know if they're available or not. They'll lie to you sometimes, and they'll say this artist isn't available, and you're like, I just fucking talked to him, like, and they got nothing going on because we work with these artists all the time,
and they don't want you to,
we'll have
which
you do
is
we'll have you do
counterproductive.
we'll have you do a Vampirella, and we'll have you do a Pop Kill, and then we'll have you do this cover, and I'm going to request you for this Marvel. Oh, you just broke a rule. You can't say I'm going to request you for a Marvel cover. You're not allowed to say that. You're breaking Marvel's rules or DC's rules. So, I mean, come on. It's a little ridiculous. But anyway, and you can't see the art until it's done. So I've gotten covers before, and you're going, what is that? Like, this is going to bomb. And I've only known one person to ever, I can't say any, I can't get too much, because, you know, is secret retailer shit, but I've known one person to get it out of a cover out of everybody I've ever known. I just sent you one, Brian, on Instagram. This is my first freak out cover I freaked out for. So Wolverine #1's coming out, and I got approved with Gerald Perel did a cover, and I'm thinking a big Wolverine looking cool with the claws out, and he's gonna, you know, action or looking badass, a savage snarl. Like, I requested a savage Wolverine, right? And this is what they sent me without trade dress. And I was like, what is this? And even Marvel was like, we think it's gonna look good with trade dress. I was like, can I use the old school trade dress? And they were like, yes.
Smart.
The
and I love
trade
how you
dress
put it
made
behind him.
I had to request that too because it was in front of him. I said, can we put the top of his head but in front of the logo? And they did, and the ear made it in front. And then I said, this is going to be a C2E2 exclusive, and this is taboo now. Nobody ever does this. I said, put it on the front.
Good for you.
Because I think it'll help balance the cover out.
Yeah.
And this actually wound up being a pretty good seller when it came out. It did really well for us. But when I first saw that art, I was like, and I was just getting started. I did not have 20K laying around. I still don't have 20K laying around. But it was terrifying. So I got so many stories like that where.
Great question real quick from Rye with the $5 super chat. He says, Sean, have you ever told Shikari you don't like the bazonkers he did? LOL.
Yes, that's the word of the show, bazonkers. You know, you can't say certain words, you get blocked or shadow banned, but
yeah.
Bazonkers is still safe. I have. Shikari is a very good friend of mine at this point. He's been exclusive with me for probably 3 or 4 years, 3 years, at least 3 years. Yeah, all the time. I'm like, bro, he'll spend 10, 15, 20 hours on a cover. And I wake up and check it, or I'm behind and I'm checking it. And I'm like, bro, this is not it. This is not it. Or sometimes I'll think this is the best cover ever. And he's like, I don't like it. I'm scratching the thing. And I'm like, no. It's like, I'm sorry, I deleted it. I'm like, no, what are you doing? You got to remember, guys, working with creatives, there's creatives in here, in the chat, artists, writers. You guys are a finicky lot. I'll tell you that. And I love you guys for it.
Amen. Shout out to all the creators that are watching.
You guys you're so critical. You're your harshest critics. We all are our own worst critics. But man, creators, you guys are brutal on yourselves.
That's why I love to
creatives. I forgot. That's right.
That's why I love to always bring up with like a creator that comes on the channel for the first time to bring up, I want to know your first work, because it always kind of starts them off saying like cringeworthy moment, like, oh man, I hate thinking about that stuff. But you know what? Even though you hate thinking about it, the fans love finding that stuff. Shout out to Tim Bradstreet. Tim Bradstreet's going to join us tomorrow night on the Wednesday Night Review show.
Oh, nice.
And this is a guy that is like an OG comic artist, been in the industry forever. He's just got so much stuff. And he's like, what art do you want me to send you? I could talk about all this little stuff. And I'm like, hey, bro, you know what I want? I want you to do a deep dive on your first works. And like that's what we want to know. And we'll find the rest, and we'll find it out during conversation. But for your first time coming on here, let's talk about your first works. And he's like, oh, well, I first got published in this type of thing. And then I got my first cover on this type. Perfect. That's what we want to know about. But it's like that icebreaker question. Like, even though you might think it's like cringe, like, oh man, I was just starting out. Your fans love that stuff. And that's the important thing is if your fans want it and your fans are going to search it out, make it cool for them. Make it important for them.
Yeah.
So
Official Music Pub asked, how do you know what retailers to partner up with for covers? Or at this point, do you not bother anymore? No, I still partner with retailers all the time. Everybody does. Rarely does anybody do a cover by themselves.
Too
very
expensive.
rare, because that's a huge risk. And really, it's just relationships that I have. Some retailers have their partnerships firmly solidified in who their partners are. These are the partners that we do covers with. It works great for them. That's it, period. Other retailers, they're like the whores of the industry, man. They'll wholesale to anybody. They don't care. Some it just goes by if they're cool people or not. Some people you can pick and choose. That's kind of sucks though. Like if you have a bunch of partners that you let them pick and choose the covers they want to get in on, then they're all going to bail on your crappy covers.
Yep.
Or your not good covers, and your hot ones, everybody wants in on it. And you're like, where were you guys last cover when I was selling a kidney to pay for this thing? So it goes by relationships. And there was a long time there where a lot of people didn't want to partner with me because I had lots of Bazonker books on my website. I didn't shy away from that stuff.
Yeah.
If it sold, I enjoy those books. I'm like, only difference between your Vampirella and my cover is this much clothing on her top part. Like I'm showing the part you're not showing. And they're like, oh, I don't want my books on your site. Or the ones that had the courage to tell me straight up. Some just wouldn't even tell me. They're, just.
Well, I respect that more. Like if hey man, I just that's just not my part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, no problem, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for fucking not beating around the bush.
It's funny how I'm not going to say who, but beating around the bush, no pun intended.
Like 80s porn.
This one particular retailer, we were really talking close about working together and sharing covers and stuff. And he's like, oh man, my wife looked at your site and was like, no way, we're never working with this guy. And then at this last con I went to, gigantic, huge banner of Vampirella, just 90% naked, like huge part of the booth. And I was like, I remember you said, like,
yeah,
it's funny
everything
how people
changes.
shift.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had writers. So many stories. I've had writers tell me, all you do is corn books. I don't know if you can say the P word. I don't want to get banned or whatever.
Yeah.
All you do is corn books, and all you do is Bazonker covers, and I didn't want to work with you anyway, and that's all you do. And then I look and see what they're doing 6 months later, and I'm like, oh, look at that. You're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Mr. Hole, you're not too good to do your comic anymore. Okay, sounds good.
Everything changes when the money symbols start either needing to be there or start showing up, man. Things change. It's very interesting. And that's why I have a lot of respect for the people that, are very just come out and say, hey, this is what I do. This is what works for me. And this is what I'm going to continue to do. If you want to do it like this way, I'm in. Like, thank you. Make it easy for me. I don't have to read your fucking mind. I don't have to. This is, and I think that's very important in this industry, especially the retailer exclusive game. It's a very fickle game right now.
Soggy said it perfect in the chat. 21K and some luck. Let's do an absolute Batman. There's I told everybody about this is going to happen. dudes that have never done a retail exclusive before are going to start coming out of the woodwork, and they're doing covers. Just go on League of Comic Geeks and look at all the variants. I haven't heard of it, maybe not half, but a vast majority. I'm like, who's this dude? I don't know.
And half the variants aren't even there yet. They haven't even showed up there yet. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, not that if I don't know them, they don't exist. Not that I'm the be all end all, but you know.
Shout out to Drew in the chat, aka Mr. Wanted Comics. He says, "Hello, fellows. Can't wait to watch the full show tomorrow. I'm packing orders, and good on you." That's the real retailers I always talk to. It's like, oh man, I'm too busy packing orders.
That's why you hire people, guys. Come on, hire shippers.
Hey, yeah,
hire shippers.
All right, real quick, I want to give a shout out to our boy Kyle, who Seeds of Evil #2. He put this post out a little bit ago. Seeds of Evil issue 2 is going to be epic. You do not want to miss out on this. Launching the Kickstarter soon. So you guys know we talked about Seeds of Evil on the channel. He's doing a really cool thing where he's got these tickets that if you got one of these lucky tickets right here at MegaCon, you can take them to New York and turn them in for cool things. And he's coming up with these really cool ways to create a fan base and to create cool things. And I love this type of thought process, especially when you have a cool book. And this is a really cool book, a really good idea. And there's a lot of really good covers that have been in the past that you guys did with this that a lot of people just don't know about yet. So we're keeping our eye on Seeds of Evil. We're looking forward to it. He sent me the PDFs, and I gotta say it's really good. And shout out to Kyle for just continuing to do what he wants and having fun doing it. And independent comic creators, man, they're such a big part of this industry, and we got to champion them when they're good. So
he taught himself how to handwrite those. He taught himself calligraphy in like 2 days. I was like, how long did it take you? He's like, too long.
Look how dope that is.
I'm like, bro, that looks so freaking cool. Like, look at that. It looks like it was written in 1920 or whatever.
Well,
like,
he took time for it. Lisa Noble says, I got the Perillo for #1. I'm jealous of you, Lisa.
Nice.
Lisa, I'm very jealous. But yeah, this is the type of stuff you put some little extra time into it and effort into it. And there's a saying that I love, and I forget who said it, but it's basically like nothing that like is worth doing was easy to do. It takes hard work. It takes time. It takes effort. Anything that's worth doing takes effort. And this little extra effort that he took to, create, these calligraphy signatures and on these cool tickets and these cool special things, like these are the type of things that saying is meant for, so shout out to him for doing cool things and keeping that
follow
alive.
him on Instagram too, guys. He sent me a list of other projects he's working on the other day, and I was like, he sounds so freaking cool. Like he's got some great ideas stewing around in his head.
Yeah, I just dropped his link in the chat, and I'll put it in the description below. That being said, you guys, great show tonight. We're going to keep our eyes on everything that's going on. I think that the industry is so dynamic right now, and there's so much stuff happening and so many different parts of the industry and the different tent poles, and there's some fun stuff that's happening in comics. We love what's going on in comics. There's also some shitty things that's happened that we're trying to, say, hey, maybe do things a little bit differently. These are the type of things that might not, that don't really work and that we don't like. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you do it in a way that's respectful. And I think we do that over here. So thank you to these two guys. Thanks to Emmett. Thanks to Sean. Make sure you guys go check out Haven for Heroes, Port Jervis, New York. Like Emmett said, one of the best comic shops in the nation. People coming around all around from the country to check out his stuff. And yeah, Emmett's always
check us out on Shopify. Shopify store is back open.
Yeah,
you got some great stuff on there, dude. I was looking at it the other day. I was like,
zombie tramps, a lot of zombie tramp, low number stuff.
And you got great prices on there too. You got meat on the bone for flippers.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
Yep.
I like
I
the
like
ones
it.
that come in respectful and pay the price I ask, and I have a volume discount, but like run books down that I know they're gonna flip, it just burns.
I was to say, if you had a 50% wholesale discount, I would have probably wiped out half your store the other day. Don't do it. Don't give it to me. Don't
Well,
do
that
it.
being said, go check out Comics Elite, you guys. You guys, he's got some great stuff going on. We talked about some
Hell
of the
yeah.
variants tonight. You guys can use the code word Beyond 10 to get 10% off anything on the site. Go check it out. Congratulations to everybody that got those really cool Nectar variants this week. And go check out the Shelby Robertson Nectar variant that's coming out. More stuff to come from them in the future. Both retailers doing great things. Shout out to our boy Jesse. Shout out to our boy Dennis. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday for another Industry of Comics show, episode 111, next Tuesday. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Adios.
Thanks for having me.